pace car. Getting ready to head on the pit road. This pace car dives on the pit road. 400 miles and 200 laps here in Michigan. The starter taps the back of the official starter, and they have waved the green flag. We're underway. Tight restart down here into turn 1. Good push by Logano. Sends Bubba off into the lead. Logano trying to get the outside of that 20 car. Looking at 3 wide, possibly down the back straightaway for second.
That put Christopher Bell in the middle. He went to the outside. Now Tyler Reddick jumps to the middle of 3 wide.
Some good aggression there from Tyler Reddick to gain a few spots early on this first lap. Up to 3rd position.
You talked about the aero wake and how you want to step out of line to get downforce to make a pass. Another thing we're talking about, these cars naturally very draggy. What does that mean? You want to be in line down the straightaway. We've seen 2 or 3 tenths of a second slower running completely by yourself. You see right there, Christopher Bell jumps out of line, but he's got to help his teammate. Oh, tries to get back in line. Larson had it filled.
Kyle Busch can't clear the 8. In turns 3 and 4, Reddick still on that outside down the front straightaway. Will that momentum help him take that position back? Yes, we're going to see some side drafting here today. Drafting very critical at this racetrack, but that side drafting not quite as significant, not quite as big of a tool as we've used in the past with this new next-gen car.
There's a ton of learning going on right now. These cars ran at California early in the year, which is a 2-mile racetrack, but 2 completely different kind of racetracks. Different surfaces. The first time all the cars have been on the track at the same time. Drivers are learning right now as much as they possibly can to relay that information to the teams about what they need to, in their car, Steve, to be better.
We talked a lot about the Toyotas, Martin Truex Jr. That 43 right behind him, Eric Jones. He's had a pretty solid weekend as well. Dave Ellens and Eric working together this year at Petty GMS. Have really found a nice combination. I think they are continuing to improve each and every week. We talked to him in the pre-race. You know, a Michigan native, he would love to win here, if anywhere, to make the playoffs. See at the bottom left, competition yellow at lap 20, so about 16 laps away. Some guys are going to be sad it came out because their cars are great. Other guys are going to be so thankful they can start working on it.
Typically, Steve, you know, we know this is a very strategy-driven race, and fuel mileage will play a role. But when you get that late alert from NASCAR, you're going to have a comp yellow. How do you change your strategy?
Well, I think it really comes down to fuel windows. And when I look at this one at lap 20, it really doesn't help you a whole lot. You would take less fuel at the end of stage 1, which could help the speed of your pit stop a little bit. But I think if you have track position, you might stay out. I think there's a pretty big chunk of the field that won't even come down at lap 20. Great battle top and bottom. Truex, Eric Jones on the top. That's 16 this week. Driver rotation, that's Noah Gragson this week for Colleague Racing. Chastain kind of, this is as mortal as we have seen this Trackhouse Racing 1 car. Every week they find a way into the top 5, and he may as well do that again today. You just don't know. But not the raw speed we have seen out of this organization.
Well, he started 22nd, and he's already up to 15, so I'd say a pretty good start. Look at that wash right there, the 10 car. Tried to get right to the 16 car, lost the car, went up the racetrack, gained his momentum back much better than I thought he was going to.
And the second Trackhouse car, here comes the 99. He's chasing his teammate through the field.
Speaking of Trackhouse, Parker's got something on the 1 car.
You guys saw it there where Chastain has moved up so many positions here, guys. And before the race, he told us he was going to do just that. He said, you're going to watch the 1 car pass a bunch of cars and go to the front. And it's so fascinating because so many drivers and teams have told me how hard it is to pass this car. You just saw it there, Eric Almirola, struggling and losing the nose right when he got in the wake of that car in front of him. But for whatever reason, Ross Chastain, Trackhouse, and this 1 car and his teammate Daniel Suarez are able to pass cars. It's just fascinating to watch them be able to work the air the way they do.
Watching Kyle Busch around the racetrack. Let's listen to some 18 radio.
3 and 4 is really good. 1 and 2 just loses the nose just before center and never catches it back. Just stupid tight through there.
That's good communication, and I think some of the difference between one end of the racetrack and the other is the wind. The wind yesterday was a straight tailwind down the backstretch, which helps you turn into turn 1, makes turns 3 and 4 much tighter. Today, the flags are basically laying right down. I don't see much wind at all, so I think that's going to change the balance. So we've only had rain, weather change, Marty, and now no wind, and they expect us crew chiefs to guess at what that's all going to do.
Yeah, good luck on that, Steve, right? So it's been a while since Kyle Busch won here. In fact, 19 races, 2011 since Kyle Busch won here. So when I talked to Ben Bayshore's crew chief this morning, I said, where do you feel best about maybe getting another win this year? Here or Richmond, where Kyle has so many wins? He said, honestly, here. He said, I think that's one of the best cards that we've had in a number of weeks. For us, it's just keeping the race together and putting together those last couple of runs. Much like his teammate Martin Truex Jr., they've had speed. They need to finish all 200 laps.
Tyler Reddick to the inside of Logano for second place down here in turn 3. Easily clearing the 22 Shell Ford. Logano struggling just a little bit.
A little trash on the nose of the 22.
Yeah, maybe trying to get some of that off, see if he moves down here behind the 20 car of Christopher Bell, who's to his inside.
At these big tracks, we haven't seen cooling be an issue, but we'll have to just see if he is concerned enough to do something about it. As we see Larson, big left-hand turn, looking at the bottom.
Yeah, some pretty big runs down the front straightaway. Draft playing quite a role here, as it always does. A lot of action here as we head toward a caution, a competition yellow coming out soon here in Michigan. We'll be right back. Stop data. Select from alternate camera angles and customize your viewing experience with multi-camera view. Visit NASCAR.com/drive or download the NASCAR mobile app. Riding along with Brad Keselowski with the Ford Performance camera. Speaking of Ford, Brad's old teammate, the 22, kind of slipping back here, Kim.
Yeah, definitely slipping back. We saw him in that second position for a while. You guys noted the debris and said maybe he was dropping back to try and free the debris off the grill. Well, that wasn't the only case. That balance is just absolutely off way too free in and free off, tight in the center. And when I talked to crew chief Paul Wolf before the race, they said it was tight in practice, and they took an absolutely huge swing for qualifying, and they were hoping it wasn't too big of a swing for the race. Well, it's turning out to be too big. It just can't do anything with how free their rear is, Marty.
Chase Elliott's also gone backwards, Kim. Started 13th, back in 18th. He's lost 5 positions. And is there a problem with the radio? Listen.
I couldn't hear whoever that was. Somebody was trying to talk. Yeah, we just got a static too, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't know if they can't hear me or you said it was static. Yeah, I can hear him, but great.
Talking about spotter Eddie DeHaan, but then he comes through clear, Steve, at times as well. So I don't know where you really start to diagnose that issue for Chase Elliott and his team. Could that have been a rain issue with the rain earlier today?
That's absolutely always your concern. When you think about rain, your radios are a number one concern. Moisture gets in all the connections, and it becomes a little bit of a phantom issue. As I watch this battle between Larson and Kyle Busch, there Larson goes. The 18 was running the top. Now Larson up the racetrack. They sprayed some of that compound on there to add a little grip. We didn't see a lot of movement in the Xfinity Series race, but early on, guys, these Cup drivers searching up a lane.
Yeah, the other thing that was interesting, the report from Joey Logano talking about being loose on corner entry and loose on corner exit. We didn't hear that at all yesterday. There was no comment about loose, made those adjustments, now went too far. So now you got to go back and try to fix that entry and exit, but that's going to hurt the center. And that's been the problem. Really, what we've heard a lot of the Fords complaining about all year long is just trying to find that balance.
And Jeff, that's actually what a lot of teams are worried about, right? We're going too far with those adjustments and how tight they all were yesterday. And Steve, you talked about that resin. I'm hearing that across all my cars, including Tyler Reddick, currently in second place. The team just asking him to go up in that resin, put the right sides in it, as they're seeing cars make speed up there. So it looks like it might be activating pretty early on this race, as you mentioned. We didn't quite see that yesterday, but maybe these Cup cars just coming in quickly.
You know, in Cup practice, we saw the 18 and a few guys actually run up there intentionally to see if there was grip there and make a little time, as the battle right here for second between Reddick and Kyle Busch.
And Reddick thought he went high in 3 and 4, and 18 went higher, much higher. Once again, Reddick's kind of normal, but look at the 18. He's got his right sides in that darker area, and it's not hurting him, much like we showed earlier with the arrow. Oh, he gets tight on exit, though. You see Reddick's got to pull away.
Hate to see that.
And the 5's thinking, I got you. Here I come.
So let's see what Kyle Larson can do as he drives to the bottom. See what Kyle Busch is able to do on the outside, able to go back to the throttle so much quicker than Larson when he pinned it on the bottom.
All right, so I like the speed, but make a little note. You're going to run up the track a little bit. You're going to get in the gas longer, more time in throttle, probably burning a little bit more fuel, Marty.
Also make a note, Kyle Busch pretty good on the long runs as well. And what you see in there in 1 and 2 when he lost all that ground a moment ago to Tyler Reddick, that's the worst part of the racetrack. You heard the radio transmission from Kyle Busch a moment ago. Super tight in 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 pretty good. Coming to the comp caution here pretty soon, but he would love to get second before that happens.
I think when the car's tighter, you want to try to, traditionally move up the racetrack even more to try to find a way to get that right rear to move around. But also, we know that it's progressive banking, so you can put that left front lower, kind of de-wedge the car some down in the bottom of 1 and 2. Some options at this racetrack, and I think that's why drivers love it. Look at that side-by-side battle off into turn 1. Larson and Christopher Bell trying to fight it out before the comp yellow comes out.
You see Christopher Bell on the bottom. Up there's a comp caution, but I think Christopher Bell, see if he got in front of him before that caution came out.
So you said a few guys, Steve, are probably going to stay out on the racetrack. We know we see some that are struggling. We're absolutely going to come to pit road.
Yeah, so when I look at the math, right, you can run about 50 laps on fuel, so you can run these 45 laps required. We did have a few extra pace laps. The concern is if you need more than 15 gallons, when you take 4 tires, you are waiting on fuel. You will lose spots. So it really comes down to how many you think are going to pit. If you think everyone's coming, you're going to come just to keep fuel in the tank. Probably put some tires on it, fuel in the tank, make some adjustments. The fear is, if you're these leaders, if you're Bubba Walsh, you've worked so hard, we've talked about how track position is important, they all start to pit, and the guy in 5th on back says, well, then good, we'll just stay out and get some track position. You hate to be wrong being the leader.
Can you judge by what everybody in their pit stall's doing as far as tires on the wall? Is there a few bluffs, anything like that going on?
I'm watching pit crews. I'm scanning everyone. Even with these code words, you can sometimes tell just in the inflection on their voice what they really mean, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here.
FedEx Cup playoffs. They're coming around. It's taken the PGA Tour's very best just to get to that point. Now it's going to take a lot more. FedEx Cup Playoffs, St. Jude Championship. It's Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock. Who you got?
Man, I think McElroy right there in the promo. He's been hitting the ball so good. Had that disappointment in the Open across the pond. I think he's going to be hard to beat.
Aerial coverage brought to you by Geico. Giving us some great shots there. So we watch these guys come around turn 3 and 4, and we're going to see who's coming to pit road. Looked like everybody on pit road was getting ready for a stop.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like everyone's busy, like everybody's going to come. I think staying out would be the gamble if the majority pit, but we'll see if somebody decides to gamble. There you go.
Whoa.
Split decision. Not surprising.
I didn't believe you. Here they come, though, down pit road. Parker.
Second in that queue is Tyler Reddick in that A car, came across the radio and said they're just a bit too tight right now. He wouldn't be opposed to making adjustments. You see in the left rear, no tires, just fuel here for Tyler Reddick, but he didn't want to get too loose, Marty.
Boy, the first strategy move of the race, 22 laps in, a host of cars staying out. You see Kyle Busch saying that 1 and 2, as we mentioned, just the worst part for him. He said it gets tighter as the corner goes progressively longer. 4 times for Kyle Busch. Meanwhile, Bubba Wallace in the Toyota, 2 tires for those guys. He too saying his car just a little bit too tight.
Michael McDowell gained several spots off pit road. We'll be right back.
First pit stops of the day. The leaders did elect to bring it down pit road, and many of the drivers did choose to take tires. Let's talk a little bit about tires here today. Now, we do know that the track conditions have changed a bit here at Michigan, given that the weather situation has been a bit unexpected. Now, things aren't quite as hot there on the racetrack as teams were expecting, which is going to change their tire strategy just a bit. Now, heading into today's race, we're running a unique tire code here at Michigan. This is the first time these Cup teams have run this tire code, and it's very different than the one that was run yesterday in the Xfinity Series. Now, Goodyear did hold a tire test to test out this tire code back in late May, early June, and there were 3 drivers that participated. Those drivers were Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano, and Austin Dillon. Just something to think about here as we see how tire strategy comes into play here for the remainder of this race today at Michigan.
This pit box, Cody Ware slows down, and in his first start, Austin Hill does not get slowed down quick enough, runs into the back. Hope there's not too much damage.
That left front looked locked up, so I didn't think he was still coming into his stall. We'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, looking at the car itself, looks great, Steve.
Yeah, these things are tough. Look, we tested them in Indy. You can hit a lot of stuff, and the car will stay in one piece.
Field lined up 2 by 2 coming around turn 3 and 4.
Be real interesting for these guys that pitted. I'd like to call it staying out. 11 of them stayed on the racetrack, got that track position.
Pace car dives onto pit road, the field approaching the Geico restart zone. Christopher Bell, Eric Jones up front. We're back under green here in stage 1 in Michigan. A lot of movement back there in the back, 2 and 3 wide. Pretty even. Oh, look at that. Guys getting checked up. Big contact back there. J.J. Ailey's around the 10, the 2, hard into the wall.
Oh, goodness. Kyle Busch involved. Big damage on the 18 as well. This is the concern about pitting and losing track position is the chaos on the starts. Huge damage to the two of Cindric.
That was a big hit.
Massive hit. Austin Cindric drops the window net in frustration. Big damage to the 18 car.
High hopes. He's on that, career longest streak, not finishing inside the top 10.
It looks like the left front tie rod's broken.
Yeah, that's Kyle Busch's radio, guys. They're just trying to assess the damage here. Ben Bayshore, boy, you can see how upset he is, Steve. They knew they had a car that could win this race today, and looks like it's going to be over with early.
Got a toe link on the left front end, the right rear broke on that car that they'll need to repair. Maybe even more severe damage, actually, to the right rear.
Yeah, just take it to the garage.
Yeah, I agree. Take it to the garage. Great sign right there. Cindric getting out. I know he's frustrated, but big hit in front of that 2 car.
A huge hit. Good to see him get out.
The whole thing looked like that J.J. Ailey's car kind of was slow. I'm not sure what happened. Big damage to the 10.
This is the danger in pitting, getting yourself back behind the field. Let's go back and see what happened.
Oh, Michael McDowell, big damage. Let's take a look. That's that white car right in the center. There he is, just in the middle of 3 wide. McDowell's going to check up and then see what happens from here.
Looks like he gets a little bit loose. He's trying to save it. More and more contact.
But the 10 spins up in front. I'm going to have to watch it again to see how the 10 spun around. Was it contact from the 15, Junior?
I believe a little contact with the with another car, not the 15, but move back here to the contact. Actually,
yeah, there you go. Right.
10, 15 gets him right there. And getting overcorrected into the wall head on by the 2. That's your worst nightmare, I think, in a race car. It's being turned head on into the wall like that at such a high speed. Even though they're on a restart here, not full speed, these are still tremendous hits for these guys.
Look at Ty Gibbs.
That safer barrier move.
That safer barrier, big move. See how effective that is. Chase Elliott and that 9 car, the green car, did a great job avoiding that impact. Just all go down there. See the 15, J.J. Ailey moving around. Then they're all trying to miss it, getting into each other. Watch Chase Elliott. Makes a hard right there to miss Harrison Burton.
Let's ride on board with Chase trying to work his way through all this.
Back, down. Keep rolling. Mid, up. Good.
I always love watching from an onboard and listening to the throttle. Listen to Ty here.
3 rod top, back together tight, slow top, slow middle. Spinning top, come down low.
What I mean by that, you think they're just going to get on the brakes. That's not it at all. On the gas, off the gas, and then if you think you have a hole, you kind of gun it to try to get through the wreck.
Yeah, a great way to get in a wreck is just jump in the brakes, and then you don't have control of the car anymore. Oh, look at that. It's just head on for Cindric.
I mean, the airbox came off the front of that thing.
Cautions, precautions, and we've had a hard wreck today in the first stage here at Michigan.
Brings out our first on-track incident caution of the day. Now, a handful of drivers were involved in that one, notably the 18 of Kyle Busch, the 10 of Eric Almirola, 34 of Michael McDowell, and a substantial number of drivers we see on pit road. The 34 was getting some adjustments, the 10 was taking some tires, and a few of our rookies were also involved. Heavy damage for the 2 of Austin Cindric, and Todd Gilliland got a little bit of damage in that as well. We'll keep you updated here as we get updates from the racetrack, but that is definitely going to shake up some positions here as we finish out stage 1.
Download the official app of NASCAR and follow the action with free live scoring, in-car cameras, and radio broadcasts. Upgrade to Premium for full access to driver audio channels and a completely ad-free experience. Search NASCAR in your app store to download and start a free trial. Welcome back to NASCAR Cup Series Racing here in Michigan, presented by Golden Corrals. We watch one of the drivers involved in the latest accident head to the infield care center, and here's Ricky Stenhouse climbing out of his car. There's a list of the drivers involved in the lap 25 crash.
I used that NASCAR mobile app to get Kyle Busch out of my lineup.
One of the drivers that we saw sort of in the very beginning stages of this accident, J.J. Elliot. Let's listen to some in-car radio from the 15.
Just starting to lose the nose, push up the racetrack and off the gas, and then it just got bounced around from there. I saw it.
So in that traffic, here he is. So he says he gets tight first, has to kind of come out of the throttle when he feels that happen. He was wondering why he checked up so quickly into the back of the 30 or into the front of the 34 car.
And now listen, every car on the racetrack has the right to call any strategy he wants. I would just tell you, for their own performance, forget this accident for everybody else. I just don't think this was the correct approach for this 15 car to put him up in the mix. We only have 20, basically 2 laps from that point to get to the end of stage 1. You weren't going to lose a lap. I just think you would be better off letting him be at the back of the pack and run the 20 laps. That's not against J.J. Yaley. That's just where we see this 15 car normally run. I just hate that they put that on J.J. That's tough to restart right up here.
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say there, Steve, but I think these guys may have been encouraged by some pace that they showed in practice and qualifying.
Yeah.
You know, they feel like that this car may have leveled the playing field to give them an opportunity. And we're going to get in there and mix it up. Let's listen to some 2 radio.
45 did apologize. He got us a little bit, but there wasn't nothing he could have done. It really wasn't all his fault either. Yeah, 10-4. Looking at that, there's not much we could have done or he could have done. All good. Yep, just frustrating, but.
You want to talk about frustrating? You know, people ask all the time, Dale, you missed driving. Steve, you missed crew chiefing. Last week, 3 rookies inside the top 5. Great days for those 3 rookies. You come back to Michigan, and all 3 involved in an accident, 2 of which won't even get the chance to continue. So, you know, highs and lows of the NASCAR series.
Going to take another break here at Michigan as we get the track cleaned up, get ready for a restart after this big accident. NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Ford, built Ford proud. And by Applebee's, help us crush childhood cancer. Austin Cindric was involved in this latest accident, a hard contact into the outside wall in turn 2. Kim's caught up with him.
And good to see Austin Cindric okay after that hard hit. Kind of calamity, a chain reaction. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know what all started. All I saw was a 15-car sideways, and just everything stacked up. I got tagged in left rear, shoved me up the racetrack, and then got turned head on into the fence. So, yeah, it looks like the 15 just got loose, stacked everybody up, and ran in the back of them. I mean, not Ty's fault, just everyone stacking up. But obviously a pretty massive hit to the outside wall head on. Glad to be okay. Just feels like such a waste to do all this and run a couple laps and finish last. So pretty unfortunate. Hate for the guys and the team. Discount tire, everybody.
That's Austin Cindric. We'll get a word with Kyle Busch, who was also a part of that heavy wreck. He has been released from the care center. Kyle, what happened there? Can you tell us?
I just was trying to bide my time and knew we weren't going to necessarily need to be in a hurry there to get points for the end of that stage. It was going to be a 40-lap run, and it was going to be plenty of time to get up there with our car. We had a really fast Interstate Batteries Camry. I mean, it was looking really good for the day, and obviously not a good result. So just got squeezed between the 10 spinning and myself and the fence. So just don't get it, man. Just can't buy a break right now.
What's the level of frustration? You said you can't buy a break. You had a car that you thought you could win.
1 out of 10, Infinity.
That is Kyle Busch. You heard the frustration there. This will be a string of 8 finishes outside the top 10 for the driver of the number 18.
And that's it. I mean, he's been on a run here where he's not had any top 10 finishes the longest of his career, but he's had fast cars. I mean, he's been running well at a lot of these races and nothing to show for it.
Well, remember, this all stemmed from the competition yellow. And cars deciding to stay on the racetrack, or cars deciding to pit. 11 cars stayed on the racetrack. That recycled the field all up. The 18 was running near the front. He had to get in the back after that choice to come to pit road, and now caught up in a wreck. Now, you know, it's always easy after the fact to think what you could have, should have maybe done, but poor Kyle Busch, he's right. You know, he just, I don't think he did anything wrong. His luck is just not where he needs it at the moment.
Pace car leading the field down into turn 3. They're doubled up with 1 to go. Again, Christopher Bell, Eric Jones on the front row. Right behind him here, Denny Hamlin with the Coca-Cola can. Martin Truex Jr. in 4th place. William Byron running up through the field here now in the top 5. Noah Gragson in there in 6th position as they roll up to the Geico restart zone. Still in stage 1 here. Going to complete lap 32. 14 to go, 13 to go now. Back underway.
An all-important playoff point for that 20, that 11. They're going to be racing hard here to try to win this stage.
See Bell with that big run on the outside.
And that's something to pay attention to as we see this car go to new racetracks. How does the line change as far as what line do you want to be in for the restarts? The outside, the inside? A lot of guys have been taking notes of what cars kind of dominate off into turn 1 through turn 2. Traditionally, this has been a track where you want to line up on the outside, and that inside line gets real bottled up off of turn 2, as it continues to do today. Joe Logano slots right in there in front of the 14 car. Chase Briscoe down the front straightaway. Joey pitted, did not get tires. I didn't think that was a great move, but made up some good track position here. Truex Jr. to the outside of the 17, off turn 2, trying to fake a pass on Chris Buescher. Steve, you said this 19 car was going to be hard to beat today.
It's just, he's been so close. Toyotas are so fast. We just knew there was going to be some question mark, right? It wasn't going to be straightforward, and that veteran savvy I thought was going to pay off for Truex.
Well, the speed he has in his car also, just be able to roll up on the outside of Buescher like that. It's just a power move.
Marty, what you got on this 19?
Well, Junior, talking to James Small this morning, he said that competition caution lap 20 was a gift. He said all of us, especially the Toyotas, very tight in making it on stage 1 all the way to the end. You add in all those extra caution laps before it even went green. So, Steve, he said it was a no-brainer. They were going to stay out, keep all that track position. So far, he's able to hang on to it, sitting there in 5th. Parker.
And Marty, for his teammate Christopher Bell in the 20 car currently leading, it was a gift as well to get this track position. He had fallen a little bit back at the start of this race, but this team is looking, as you mentioned, Steve, for those bonus points. They want that playoff point for winning the stage, and they want those points because he's in a position where he could catch Kyle Larson in front of him to get into the top 5 in the regular season points, and maybe all the way up to 4th and catch his teammate Martin Truex Jr. So this team over the next 4 races told me they are focused on getting those bonus points. He might be able to get that here in stage 1.
Right here on the inside of William Byron down into turn 3. William working in that outside line. He's going to give up the position. Truex drifting up the racetrack. Byron will have a little bit of a run here, but not much to do with it. Down the front straightaway, he's going to push this 19 car.
Really just wasn't anything William Byron could do right there. Truex's car obviously is much faster. See how much quicker it rolls to the center of the corner? That's where the Toyotas were so much better in practice, able to just carry speed. Look at this guy, Eric Jones, Michigan native, hoping for something big today. Kel, what do you have on him?
Well, I talked to crew chief Dave Ellens this morning, and I said, kind of, what is the playoff picture for you guys? You sit outside right now. There's 4 races left. A lot of people would peg you guys as Daytona being the one you circle, and he said, surprisingly, it is actually Michigan is our first circled race on ones we think we can win before the playoffs. He said Daytona was a close second, but they felt really confident about their speed here after the speed they showed a couple of weeks at Pocono. Currently, Eric Jones in the 3rd position.
Well, Power Moves are brought to you by the Propane Education and Research Council, and it's been a power move by Ross Chastain. Pitted from the 14th position, restarted 19th, got a little break, not getting caught up in any of that calamity. Now he's taking these 4 fresh tires and driven back up to 7th. Here he is right here. You want to talk about sometimes you just got to be a little bit fortunate. It is stacked up 3 wide and 2 wide. The 12 is right on his door. Look at this move right here. He squeezes. I was thankful the 42 knew he was there because I didn't know if there was room between the 42 and the 41. But Chastain, as he has done time and time again, kind of bulldogs his way through there and continues to run.
And that mentality right there, instead of pushing the 8, a lot of guys would have pushed the 8 car. He goes around him. He gets a run. He says, well, I'm not going to push this guy. I'm going to take this run and do something with it. Parker.
Remember his conversation with myself earlier today when during the rain delay, he said, look, I'm taking low percentage moves because that's how you pass. So I asked him, how are you making these passes all the time and getting all these positions when they don't qualify that well? When everyone says it's so hard, he says, I just go for those low percentage moves that, yeah, ruffle some feathers, it might anger some people, but that is how you make passes in this car. And you saw it right there. He did it at the start of this race. He was up 7 positions in the first 5 laps of this race. Ross Chastain just using those low percentage moves, putting that car in a position where the other drivers have to decide whether there's going to be contact or he gets position, and so far it's going his way.
Statistically, there's nobody better at restarts in the sport right now than Ross Chastain. As he looks to the outside, trying to get a run around Christopher Buescher. He's going to take that run, possibly to the inside here. The draft up actually pushed Christopher away down the front straightaway as they try to close in on William Byron. A big run up on the 24 car here.
A lot of cool things in NASCAR right now. I'm telling you, when LeBron James tweets good luck in the race to Chris Buescher, has a part of that car at his foundation supporting the 17 car this weekend. I thought that was pretty cool. Look at this. You like it. I mean, LeBron James, you talk about Michael Jordan being in the sport as an owner, but who, current athletes worldwide, LeBron James got to be what, single digit, top 5 maybe, most recognizable. I think he's wishing Chris Buescher luck and hopefully tuning in and watching. It's great to see.
Ross running that high line, gets great momentum down the straightaway again with a run on the 17. Again, going to push him. He should be in position to strike on the 24 here at the end of the straightaway. There he goes to the inside. Christopher Buescher on William Byron. William now, though, has that high line, the preferred groove.
If Chris doesn't make this work, he could actually lose a spot right here. This is one of the dangers of trying to make passes at Michigan. You got to go for it, but he was smart. He knew he couldn't get the pass done, so he rolled in behind the 24 rather than allowing Chastain to get on the outside of him, Marty.
King James feeling happy, almost up there in the 5th spot for Chris Buescher, sitting in 6th right now, trying to hold off Ross Chastain and those 4 fresh tires as well. Chris Buescher earlier this week, a lot of people felt like they would be good at the road courses, they would be good at Daytona, and now he's going to go get that 5th spot. Nice move by Buescher to go get that. He said, actually, I feel good at every racetrack. He said, Richmond may be a tough one for us, but I feel like Michigan, we can get up there and get a win. I feel like Watkins Glen will be good, and Daytona, and he's showing that speed right now, Jeff, up there in the 5th spot.
Yeah, tons of confidence from his car owner, Brad Keselowski. Chris Busch are doing a good job all year long.
How about that draft? It was like turbo.
Yeah.
It was like turbo on the NASCAR game X button. I mean, that was unreal.
That was impressive what Chastain was doing to sort of create that battle between Byron and Buescher. Now Chastain trying to break away and get away from the side draft. Down the front straightaway, can he clear the 24 car off into turn 1? Byron fighting on that outside line, going to be able to stay out there through turns 1 and 2.
Chastain all the way down on that white line. Here comes Harvick. Chastain, there's no banking down there. To get your car to work down there is very difficult. You can see how he lost momentum down the back straightaway. Harvick saw it, trying to take advantage of it. Now he goes to the bottom.
Chastain now again to the high side will have a good run on the 24 car here. Down the front straightaway. Without the help, though, behind him, can he make a pass? He's going to be able to side draft a little bit here. And again, enter turn 1, nose to nose. This time he's going to almost clear him, just about making a slide job there. Doesn't pull it off. But he does move up the racetrack enough to almost force the 24 to give up a little throttle there, so they'll stay side by side down the back straightaway. Final lap here of stage 1, Christopher Bell through turns 3 and 4. Clear sailing, a second and a half ahead of his teammate Denny Hamlin. He's going to win stage 1. His second stage win of his career. The first was stage 2 last week. So Christopher Bell peaking at the right time as we head toward the playoffs.
Yeah, as you see Chastain, Byron, Harvick, Logano, Briscoe, top 10. One name you don't see, pole sitter, Bubba Wallace came to pit road, only could come back to 13th with 2 fresh tires.
Took a little work, but stage 1 is in the books. We'll be back with pit stops in stage 2.
When you look at those top 3 drivers in the finishing order of the stage, look at that third driver there, the 43 of Erik Jones. Now Erik driving for Petty GMS. He's a 2-time winner in the series. We were talking a little bit earlier about silly season and where drivers might land in the coming years. Well, thankfully for Erik Jones, in a contract year, doesn't have to worry about what the next couple seasons may hold. He announced just a few weeks ago that he re-signed a multi-year contract with Petty GMS. So great stage finish for that 43 of Erik Jones, who has a bright future ahead of him with that team.
Got to check out NASCAR Radio Channel 90 on Sirius XM. Live every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. I love calling in to Bags and talking to those guys. This week's guest is going to be Marty Snyder. I'm a little jealous, Marty.
Glad you told me, Junior. Now I know.
Yeah, be ready.
Set my alarm now.
Welcome back, NASCAR Cup Series racing here at Michigan, presented by Golden Corral. Stage 1 is over. Christopher Bell, the winner of Stage 1.
So listen, I'm gonna on air give Marty the credit. He started on pit road, got rained on, came up to the booth, hosted the pre-race show, and I think he zipped back down to do his pit road
zip line.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't miss a segment.
Just some guys talking racing, Steve. That was fun. We had a good time.
I'm telling you, yeah, but I got to tell you to travel a little less. I was trying to work to get a segment off, but you're making me look bad. You see right here now. So he saw the choice to pit or not pit at the comp yellow. I don't think the choice is now. I think you have to come because 73 laps in this final stage, so everyone has to pit. But if you don't pit, you're going to have to come in like 25 laps. This track's big, but it's not Pocono or road course big. You pit here on the green, you're losing a lap.
Yeah, in the last 3 races here at Michigan, Stage 2 has went green flag, no caution. So with that trend, you have to pay attention to it.
Bubba Wallace pitted with the lead and only got back to 13th, so track position is going to be important.
Yeah, no, the front 5 or so, Kim's going to need a little more fuel. We'll see if that hurts him on this stop.
And Michigan native Eric Jones making the stop right there. He said, I can't do what I want in the corners, just a little bit snug. It's going to be 4 tires. They reminded him we are waiting on fuel. We have to get that fuel cell full, Parker.
And Kim, for the Joe Gibbs Racing cars of Christopher Bell, the 20, and Denny Hamlin, 11 there at the top and center of your screen. Both were just way too tight in those Toyotas. They're both going to do 4 tires and fill those cars full of fuel. The 20 of Christopher Bell, Adam Stevens told, we're not being beat in turn 3, so don't focus there, Marty.
Interesting comment from Martin Truex Jr. because they waited and didn't pit there early on. He said, I learned more about the car. He said, actually, I feel like we need no changes, but James Small said, we're going to take 4 tires here, so we are going to free you up a bit. It's going to be tight in traffic. Back with more from Michigan in a moment.
Back at Michigan under caution here at the end of Stage 1. Got a lot of unique views of this racetrack from various angles. Brad Doherty's down in the pits. Brad, what you got?
Hey, man, I'm hanging out down here right at pit entry, and one of the things I'm noticing, you know, we come to this racetrack, we talk about the speed and the power, but the air is really, really heavy. It's really damp. I wonder if that hurts the horsepower. So I'm throwing this to Stevie. What's the performance disadvantage or advantages when you have weather like this?
Well, Brad, I do think it hurts the performance of the engine, not having that crisp air. But the other thing it does is the aerodynamics of the race car isn't the same in every type of air, right? You get humid air, warm versus cold. Your drag coefficient versus your downforce changes. So you probably think, man, I really got different bad horsepower just because you're pushing some heavy air. Jeff, this is already a draggy race car. It's getting even draggier in this humidity.
Yeah, it does make downforce, though. Makes the car drive a little bit better. Hurts the straightaway speed. See all these guys coming to one to go, so they're choosing the lane they want to restart in. Ty Gibbs stayed out right here. He's going to be the leader of this race.
Corey LaJoie as well up there in the second row. Get to see what that 7 car has today.
Yeah, we're going to see with this track positioning, guys. It is a absolute mixed bag of opportunity. Look at Gibbs was on at 31. LaJoie at 22 for 4 tires. Chastain just took a couple tires. Look at Blaney right here. He came at 22, took 4 tires. He took gas only right here. So the cars that finished, like Truex and those guys, don't assume they had slow 4-tire pit stops. What they had to do is they needed 45. They had burned 45 laps worth of fuel. That takes longer to put in the car than it does to change 4 tires with these single lugs. So this is going to be a rotation all day long.
Well, Blaney wasn't going anywhere back in traffic, so they went ahead and tried this to get him some track position. How about Ty Gibbs? This is your 3rd Cup race ever. Qualified well yesterday, and now he's starting on the front row. He's leading the guys that he's been watching on television win these races. Ross Chastain, Larson, Blaney starting behind him. I think he's equipped for this. He's led a lot of races in the Xfinity Series. This isn't foreign territory for him.
Coca-Cola Cam off the back of the pace car leads the field around turn 4. It's going to dive onto pit road here.
Chastain is the guy that just won't go away.
Let's see what Ty Gibbs does on the front row for a restart as we begin stage 2 here at Michigan. We're underway. Good push from the 12 car on the inside.
Yeah, and the opposite from the 7. He's off the 45's bumper. Oh, here comes a big shove.
Yeah, he got shoved by the 5 of Larson, but it was late in the corner. Chastain's going to easily clear him now, pull up in front of him.
Oh, man, I didn't think there was a spot for the 12.
Ty Gibbs doing a little moving around, trying to see if he can make a move on the leader.
I'm not sure that Larson thought there was a spot for the 12 either.
We'll see if there's a spot in front of the 7. There is. The 12 gets in line. 3 wide behind him.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace went with the 7 intentionally. Here comes Eric Jones on the bottom, 4 wide, all the way on the apron.
Eric Jones has got a hot rod today, guys. He takes a couple positions there. He's going to position him, though, low on entry into 1. He's going to lose a lot of momentum here.
Corey LaJoie doing a good job hanging in there.
He is, but he has a little bit of a stack up behind him, right? He's in the preferred lane, running around the top there.
Larson dives into turn 3, slides up in front of Corey, taking away the air into downforce. Christopher Bell fits into a small hole right there in front of his teammate Denny Hamlin. They're all going to drive by this 43 on the front straightaway.
You saw Hamlin give the old like peek. No, don't do that. Stay back in line. This is the line that's going to go.
Now he's going to try. Now he gets underneath the 20 of Bell. Parker, what do you have on Corey?
Well, guys, it's good to see him run up here and be able to hold his own a little bit as he gets a little tight there off of turn 2. He said after practice yesterday that car was really tight and out of the racetrack, but they made some huge adjustments overnight and really threw a big adjustment at it. Was hoping it'd be a little better as he always going to the top side there a little bit, trying to maybe get out of the way, but he definitely was a little happier up with it up here in the cleaner air, and obviously it came to life a little bit for him compared to what they saw in practice.
Yeah, and this is really just trying to be a cycle for the 7, right? I don't think he thought he's going to go up here and lead the race, but he was running 25th. So now he's in the 8th position. He's going to have to pit in about 15, maybe 20 more laps. So if he could just stay reasonably close inside the top 20, it's a net gain, Jeff.
Almost some contact here between teammates. Denny Hamlin really close on the left rear quarter panel of Christopher Bell, and he takes that position away as we ride on the Coca-Cola Cam out the back bumper of Denny Hamlin's car. Now we're right inside with Denny driving through the corner, and it's really something I've noticed about these cars is how smooth the driver's hands are. They've been tight all week. Typically when the car's tight, you don't move the steering wheel a lot.
Look at that speed in the draft. 202 miles an hour. That's how big the draft is. We didn't see that top speed qualifying with a faster lap time, but here in line, you will see higher max speeds.
Back up front, Chastain leads. Gibbs, Larson, Blaney, all in the picture there.
Larson had a big run on Gibbs down the front straightaway, trying to make a move on him. It didn't work into one, got his momentum built back up, and now he's underneath him.
If you're Rick Hendrick, you got to be thrilled with what you're seeing out of this 5 car. Marty, what you got?
Yeah, I was going to say, Kyle Larson trying to get second there from Ty Gibbs Jr. You're exactly right. I mean, these teams have really struggled at Hendrick Motorsports and the Chevys in general, right, with this tire change here in Michigan. Talking to Cliff Daniels this morning, he said, I have no idea what to expect. We've really taken a shot in the dark setup-wise, but you know Larson's so good here at Michigan. He has the 3 wins at this racetrack, more than any other track for him, and should we be surprised, despite struggling in practice and despite starting a little bit further back than he would have liked in the 8th spot, here he is, passing for second, trying to go for the lead on Ross Chastain.
I know the strategy's really got things turned around here, and we expected the Toyotas to dominate, but I am surprised, pleasantly surprised by the ability for these teams to make changes overnight before the races that affect these cars and improve their race cars.
So Larson right there trying to get underneath Chastain. He lost the front downforce on his car. Way up the racetrack he went. That allowed Ty Gibbs to gain back up on him. Larson's fast. He's got the best car on the racetrack right now. Just having trouble making those passes.
I think that's a good idea for him to try to maybe go up the racetrack, get some momentum off the high side. He's really good at running the high line. As we watch this battle here between Toyotas down the front straightaway. Bubba Wallace in 5th position, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin 6th and 7th.
And these guys caught Blaney. I think Blaney's holding this crowd up. Once they got to him, it looked like to me Bubba had some trouble. That allowed this fight to get to him. They got to find a way around the 12 car.
Yeah, right off the roof of that 11, you see the entire field in front of him, every position. Christopher to the inside. Will he be able to clear? He does. He slides up in front of Bubba, and Bubba's going to have to lift right there. You see the fire come off the throttle.
That's going to give the 11 an opportunity to get a run right behind these two. The 16 of Noah Gregson. Great car yesterday in the Xfinity Series race. Strategy didn't go his way, but this is a nice solid run for the second Kaulig Racing car. You see he started inside the top 15 and currently up inside the top 10, Parker.
Right, it's a great run for them. And I talked to this team this morning and said, you know, what's the expectation when you have speed like this? They said it doesn't change. When Noah's in these cars, we just want to run all the laps, give him as much experience in these cars. Self-admittedly said it's been a big adjustment into these Cup cars this year, and getting the laps in them is invaluable as he's doing right here, especially even with strategy, finding himself in the top 10 and being able to see what it takes to run up here in the top 10 in the Cup Series racing. Guys, I just want to add on, there's a cloud cover that's come over this racetrack, and we're seeing this place get pretty racy right now. Multiple grooves opening up. I feel like it's cooling this track down, and maybe it's allowing these drivers to find a little bit more grip in places that weren't there earlier in this race.
11 just found some grip. He drove right to the outside of the 12. I don't think the 12 thought there was a line above him. Denny Hamlin found it.
Yeah, that 12 struggling a little bit with front grip.
Yeah, they haven't had speed really all weekend and played the strategy to get out front. You see Noah trying to get underneath him, trying to slide up in front of him. Whoa! Blaney with big wiggle right there.
Yeah, Blaney tried to stay on the door and side draft that 16, couldn't make it happen, lost the front of the car, now a run from the 23 down the front straightaway.
Bubba's lost some spots right here trying to get by Blaney. Finally got clear of him.
Here comes the 43 now of Eric Jones. We'll watch the 12 car lift off the throttle late off corner. Flames come out the exhaust.
You see the momentum he lost. Battle for third right here.
Big run from Denny Hamlin coming from behind on Christopher Bell. Christopher a little bit faster than the 45 of Ty Gibbs. Down to the bottom of the racetrack. What a great shot from this Monster Energy cam off the back of Ty Gibbs. Great battles right here as these guys are trying to work their way through the field here in Michigan. Welcome back to NASCAR Cup Series Racing from Michigan, presented by Golden Corral. We got a great battle here for the lead. Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell. All the Toyotas are joining this battle, guys. Ross Chastain's got some company in the mirror.
Kyle Larson was trying to get by Chastain because every time he looked in the mirror, it was a Toyota symbol. There was 3 of them, and they're all getting closer.
Yeah, one thing we've seen, if you don't make a pass, you lose so much momentum. They come from behind you so quickly. Great example right there. The 20 of Bell got right to the 5 of Larson, lost grip, and now Denny Hamlin trying to take advantage of it, Marty.
Well, the top 5, less than a second separating all of them as Denny Hamlin trying to get by his teammate Christopher Bell. Kyle Larson, could he work with Ross Chastain? Listen.
If you and Ross gonna work together here, try to pull away. Ross, work together as anybody. That's funny. I mean, I get it, but it may help us both get away from those guys, and then we can battle it out later.
How about that 3 wide back there with Noah Gragson making a move there, Junior? But you got to laugh at Kyle Larson coming up with that line at 200 miles an hour, Jeff. Pretty good line from Larson saying, I'm not sure Ross Chastain works with anyone.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I'm going to tell you, Noah Gragson saw those guys side by side, knew there was going to be an opportunity for momentum. Junior took full advantage of it.
Yeah, he passed Ty Gibbs in 3 and 4, then made that move down the front straightaway to pass the other 2 Toyotas. Ty Gibbs way up the racetrack there, having to get out of the gas partner.
Hey guys, something interesting on Noah Gregson's radio here just a moment ago. The team telling him to keep breathing. If you were watching yesterday's race, you may have heard how he once again had a little bit of stomach trouble in the middle of the race, and he said one of the reasons is when he's racing really intensely, he's finding recently he's holding his breath. So the team just slowly remind him, hey, keep breathing, maybe keep that stomach a little bit under control as you're racing hard into the top 5 in the Cup Series.
He's not the only one I've ever heard, A, being sick in a car, and B, not breathing. Jimmy Johnson said when he started looking at his heart rate, he would actually hold his breath through the corners at Dover. One reason he got better there was his breathing tactic, as now we see Denny Hamlin try to get to the outside of the 16.
I was going to say, you're going to make a claim like that, you better have names, because I didn't want people thinking it was me that's
Jimmy
throwing
Johnson
up in my car.
No. Now the puking, that was a Sonoma Jeff Gordon years ago.
Denny Hamlin taking the battle right here to Noah Gragson. Denny has not raced Noah very much. He doesn't know what he's dealing with. He's got to learn how to race these guys. Also, think about that. Ty Gibbs has been in this battle, so these guys that are used to running up front, they're having to race against people they don't normally race against.
One thing I noticed, though, is Noah took that 3 wide move into 1, and then the super respectful, like, he really should have just slid up to the top and took it, but he showed these Cup guys a lot of respect, stayed at the bottom, and actually cost himself a spot.
I know that they haven't raced on the same racetrack together, but you can bet that Denny's watched those Xfinity races that Noah's ran. Definitely takes into account of what he's seen there and how he wants to race him on the racetrack. But pretty impressed with Noah so far. Denny gets around him though and closes in on this battle side by side for second. Larson and Christopher Bell. Obviously Christopher Bell the faster car. How hard will Larson fight this position? Got this little opportunity during the straightaways for these guys to draft their way back up into the battle. Christopher Bell dives into 3, overdrives the corner and tries to slide up. Larson too high, has to lift. He's going to give up that spot and more. I think Christopher Bell gets up in there and it kind of dirties the air for those guys that are on that right hip. We've seen it time and time again. Christopher Bell not worried about sliding up the racetrack and just taking a guy's line.
And that's something that several years ago, somebody got a throat grabbed. I mean, it would not have been good after the race if you did that. This is something that has changed with racing. The dirt influence has worked itself into Cup racing where you drive in front of somebody and slide up in front of them. That was not accepted at one point in this sport.
It's also something that I didn't think I'd expect to see out of Christopher Bell, one of the nicer guys in the garage, but I think for him to actually turn the corner and become the complete package, he needs to be a bit more of a jerk on the racetrack.
Well, you talk about being a jerk on the racetrack. Let's talk about this. Christopher Bell, what's his path by the 1? It seems like he needs to get a run, get side by side, and then hope the 11 pushes you by to kind of get clear.
Well, I wouldn't trust the 11 to push me. I would try to. That's the thing. Like, if Denny Hamlin sees Christopher Bell get hung up beside Chastain, he's going to take advantage of it. Bell got tight right there. You see, he got up the racetrack. I don't believe that Hamlin's going to be able to make this pass right here.
Hamlin can't really slow down Christopher. He's going to have to dive right back in behind him, and that's going to push Christopher a little bit. And I think that one car is looking in the mirror. Look at him driving the corner real high, thinking maybe I'll take the high line. He sees the 20 go to the bottom. He dives across the racetrack to cover that as well. So Ross Chastain, important but critical to look in the mirror and try to take your line away from your competitor. Watch him drive across the racetrack down in front of this 20. He does that intentionally.
He can't block both of them, though. That's going to be the problem. You see Hamlin up top. 20 had to get out of the gas on corner exit. Hamlin going to take advantage of it. I think now he's going to have enough momentum to clear Christopher Bell and slide up in front of him.
And we heard from Denny Hamlin, their feud between him and Ross Chastain to be continued. That was his comment as he drives into the corner on this turn one. Trying to close in on Chastain off corner 2.
Now what does Denny Hamlin show him? What does he do right here? Does he go to the bottom? Does he go to the top? He's going to try to run below him. Chastain's not going to be able to turn all the way to the bottom right here, still giving Hamlin some clean air to his nose. That may be getting into one, Junior. Maybe show him something a little different. Maybe run a little bit higher. Don't try to go to the bottom.
Does Hamlin have an answer for the defense of the one car? Can he put something together that'll give him the momentum to get around? He's got the faster race car than Ross, but he's also got a little company behind him, Christopher Bell. These two had a little contact at Pocono. A lot of arguments in the industry and throughout the fans of whether that was intentional or it was retaliation or not.
See Hamlin flipped his shield up and wiped his eyes off a little bit, get a little bit of sweat out of his eyes.
Love seeing these two guys have to battle each other on the racetrack. I love that it always seems to come down to them. The sport's better for it. See these two guys have a rivalry. But now it looks like that Ross has sort of neutralized both the Toyotas behind him. Here comes the 20 back into the battle. As those two work to fight each other, as Denny and the 20 race each other, they're sort of working their tires, heating their cars up, taking a little bit of the balance away.
And as we watch this battle, you're going to see a few cars kind of blend on and off pit road, different strategies. These guys 3 wide right here. The 43 trying to decide who he wants to push. Well, the 11 up the track a little bit. There's battles everywhere. This car at these high-speed racetrack have not disappointed all year.
20's going to push this 11 a little bit down the back straightaway. They're going to close in on the 1, have a big run here. What does Denny do with that? He's going to dive to the bottom of the racetrack.
That's going to hurt both of them. That gives Bell some advantage right here. Look at the momentum Bell has. He's going to push Hamlin right here.
Hamlin's going to have an opportunity. What's he going to do with it? He's going to the top of the racetrack. Chastain to the inside. I'm surprised by that. That's an obvious, easy pass for Denny around the top of the racetrack.
You think that's Chastain not wanting to show him the left side of his race car? You think he's like, you know what? I like you better on my right side. I can control what contact we may or may not have.
We'll never know. Great battles for the lead. Denny Hamlin, Chastain, Christopher Bell up front at Michigan. NASCAR fans, don't let anything pass you by. The official app of NASCAR Tracks lets you stay up to date on the latest race and event information for all your favorite tracks. Search NASCAR Tracks in the App Store to download for free. NASCAR Cup Series racing from Michigan, the Firekeepers Casino 400 continues here, stage 2.
45 of Ty Gibbs was a little bit off cycle when it comes to fuel quantity, so he comes down to pit road. You can't have this. 19.2 seconds. Now, I will tell you, it was a great call for this jackman to come back around, trouble in the right rear, jack it up to make sure the wheel is tight. You see how the wheel actually got sucked on? The changer knew he couldn't tighten it with the right side on the ground. He came from 6th. We'll have to let the pit cycle loop around, but I guarantee that 19-second pit stop is going to cost the 45 5, maybe 10 positions on the racetrack. Kevin Harvick, a lot of conversation. Could he win? Could Fords win? I was very bullish they couldn't. I hadn't seen anything that showed the speed out of the Ford on this racetrack. Well, look at as he pulls to the right to go by the 5 of Kyle Larson. Kevin Harvick up into the top 5. Him and Ronnie Childers trying to get analysts like myself to eat a little crow. They want to prove us all wrong with that Ford. I like it. Whatever motivates them. If they win, oh boy. I mean, that's like a Bubba Wallace win, right? I mean, he's on the outside looking in.
5 wins here at this racetrack for the last 6, 7 runner-up finishes. I mean, just incredible stats right there. And we counted him out. Last year here, he ran in the top 20, didn't finish in the top 10. Average running position the entire race was 14. Didn't get any stage points. And that's what I expected to see today, because the performance last year has kind of mimicked the performance this year in this team, in this organization. But man, you can't never count them out.
They've led 13 laps all year. Like when I look at the numbers, I'm like, I feel good about, saying they can't do it. But hey, this is what I love about sports. He's the type of guy that takes any sort of motivation, and maybe that's all it takes.
See Bubba Wallace got a little bit tight there in the middle of 3 and 4. Truex on the very bottom, trying to take advantage of it. Truex with a very shallow entry here. Still able to slide up in front of Bubba. Bubba was leading this race. They decided to pit during that competition caution. Has not been able to find himself back to the lead since.
As we're watching this battle, the 41 of Cole Custer was back on pit road. He had just been there 11 laps ago. They changed just left sides. We're hearing maybe a left front had gone down. So that's just a tough break for the 41. He can't get any good luck either.
No, he cannot catch a break this year, Marty.
So I want to ask Steve, all these teams are thinking they could probably run to what, 10 to go or 12 to go in the stage, Steve? But I see a lot of leaders who are thinking they're going to pit sooner. So why would you do that? Why would you come here with 32 to go in the stage versus kind of running it as long as you could?
I wouldn't. I would run as absolutely long as I can. We see the 12 of Blaney. If I'm these leaders, the lap times are still as good as they were on new tires. No reason to come to pit road, Kim.
And Blaney absolutely frustrated with that car. He said it's plowing tight, it's floating. I can't do anything. 4 fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco for Blaney, who does not like the race car he has underneath him.
Yeah, so back to that conversation, you look at Hamlin, Bell, and Chastain. Those 3 continue to run around 38 flats to 38 20s. That's as good as we saw in brand new tires. So there's no reason to pit. At certain racetracks, you come in the middle because fresh tires are worth so much. You want to have them as often as possible. Let's listen in to what the 5's thinking.
How long until that pit cycle starts? A couple guys have pitted already. The 11, the leader, is pretty far out there, so we're going to kind of play off him.
Kyle Larson asking Cliff Daniels, how about the pit cycle? Because he's seeing guys pit. He's saying, hey, there's some guys off cycle. Don't worry about him. We're focused on the 11. I would run long if I'm the 11. The question is, someone like Harvick, who is inside the top 5, pitting right now, will that force the issue of the leaders? Will they have to get onto a different plan, Kim?
And Ronnie Childers told me they're going to have to do something different because they felt like they were the next best cars to the Toyotas. He said it's the best they've unloaded all year long. Just a little tight in the corners for Kevin, who takes 4 tires and fuel, Marty.
Bubba Wallace led 21 laps early. Kim coming to pit road right here. His car absolutely plowing, and you can see it on our shots. I mean, visibly so tight in the corners. So what they're going to do here is 4 fresh Goodyear tires and the Sunoco fuel as well. Also a significant air pressure adjustment, trying to free up that 23 car for Bubba Wallace. And yes, Steve, waiting on the fuel right here. A lot of the leaders saying they're going to come down pit road here very soon.
See, I would try to run 9 more laps, because in 9 more laps, I only need 1 more pit stop to make the rest of the race. I think it's more than just the stages, Parker.
All right, William Byron pits out of the top 10 here. Very happy with the handling of that race car. They're going to do 4 tires here, but better than he had early in the race when it was tight and actually quartered a left front on that 24 car, so going in the right direction.
It's interesting. Some tracks, right? One car pits, everyone comes here. It's kind of more of an eyedropper, one at a time. But this is the big decision here. The one at Chastain, one of the top 3 cars on the racetrack. He's now come to pit road. Parker.
Right, Stephen. He was about 3 seconds behind Denny Hamlin, so it'll be interesting to see if this sort of forces the hand of those JGR cars in person. Second for Ross Chastain, just a little tight. You see one of the tires rolled away there. Tight for the one car, Ross Chastain, as they have multiple tires rolled away. We'll see what happens here. Disaster, guys.
All right, so the first one I thought wouldn't raise the ire of NASCAR because it kind of rolled forward into somebody else's box, but the one that rolled back out into the lane of traffic, even without traffic coming, I think NASCAR is going to take a hard look at that. I will be shocked if this isn't a penalty. He was running third, so you're going to see one tire. This one kind of just rolls towards you. I'm okay with that. Nobody's pitting. No harm, no foul. It's this one right here. Hits the wall, nobody catches it, back out all the way into pit lane, outside of the pit boxes. That should be an uncontrolled tire. We're here from NASCAR. It is. Pit issue for the one car, gonna be a penalty. Pass through, that is really gonna hurt Ross Chastain. Here's the 5 of Larson on pit road, Marty.
Kyle Larson coming down pit road, very happy with the handling of the race car, but Cliff Daniels said, hey, I want to stay ahead of the racetrack here, so they're going to free it up just a little bit for Kyle Larson, who ran the top 5 that entire run. Denny Hamlin coming down pit road in front of you, Parker.
Right, and there was an immediate reaction to the one of Ross Chastain coming down pit road. That's when Chris Gabehart came across the radio and said, pitting this lap for Denny Hamlin from the lead here. Just a little tight from the center to exit, especially off turns 3 and 4. They'll do 4 tires in Sunoco Field. Bottom of your screen there, you see Tyler Reddick hitting from the 3rd position through this cycle. He's been very happy with the balance of that race car through this run. Remember, it was fast earlier in this race. It got away from them, but it's starting to come back to them on the 8th. Kim?
And Joey Logano telling his team, I had a small vibration. Paul Wolf said, no, we're going to run it long unless it's bad. And Joey said, no, I got to bring it to you right now. They take tires. He did report that 22 just a little tight, Marty.
Martin Truex Jr. trying to drag race Tyler Reddick off pit road. Said the car was a little bit too tight. He said, man, whatever you do, help my track position. I get in the car within a car length of another car, I lose all of my front turn. And here's Ross Chastain serving that penalty, Junior. This is going to be a big one for the one car.
Yeah, that's a big shot for the one car. The 20 stays on the racetrack, and I want to show you, oh, he's coming to pit road, didn't last long. Okay, so now it's basically how good is the 20 going to come on and off pit road versus the 11 to Denny Hamlin. He's going to hand the lead over to Eric Jones, Buescher, Chase Elliott, and Bowman will be your top 5, Parker.
Right, his comments have basically been mirroring that of his teammate Denny Hamlin, the 11, as they race each other up at the front. They both complain about tight in the same places. These cars obviously set up very closely here for Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin. He's about 1.8 seconds behind Denny. He'll do 4 tires Sunoco Field, so we'll see how he cycles out, Marty.
Parker, it's been a surprising day for Chase Elliott, who really ran about 15th all day long. He's coming down pit road here. Said actually the car got better the longer they ran, so not too unhappy with the handling of the race car. Well, let's watch this race off pit road. Christopher Bell coming down pit road. Where's he going to cycle out with his teammate Denny Hamlin?
And he's going to easily go by here on the outside. Huge lead over the 20 car, and as the rest of the field cycles through their pit stops, that'll put Denny out front.
That was a long stop for the 9. We'll go check, see what happens.
Oh, 41. Yeah, and if this tire comes off, we heard about a flat left front earlier. There must be an issue on this car. Fire. If this creates a yellow, Eric Jones, Buescher, Suarez, Briscoe might hit
Flagman
the
puts it
lottery.
out. The yellow's out.
Big break for Eric Jones, Buescher, Suarez.
Buescher's ready. We're on fire.
This is 2 weeks in a row that we've seen these cars on fire.
This one here looks like a flat left front tire. I'm not sure what it is, but it is.
Smoke coming into the front windshield there.
Don't bring it into pit stall. Stop by a fireman. Don't bring it to me.
Yeah, they tell the drivers and the spotters where the firemen.
Get out of there. Get out of the car.
It's stopping on pit road. Almost every pit stall has a fireman in it, so they can get to you quickly. Yeah, this was something with the left front. They were down pit road a couple of times. Talked about it earlier. Some kind of mechanical issue.
You see Cole Custer out of the car, seems to be okay.
It's his dad we just saw a shot of. against the cooler there. Never like to see your son in that kind of situation.
No, and it brought up, so they had to get it under green, and then they came in like 11 laps later with a flat left front. Seemed, you know, maybe ran over something, who knew? And now they have another flat left front. So I don't know if they have an issue on their car, just really bad luck, but you can see it's the flat tire. I'm guessing the fire probably is either an oil line or a brake line, all of that wrapping around, finally tears something apart, finds some fluid on the header. It's just, I don't understand why this car is having flat left fronts. We haven't seen it out of everybody else, so I don't think this is a tire or a setup thing. It seems like this car has an isolated issue.
Incredible shots there.
Look at this.
Look at how it's melted the body, and
watch how quickly the guys get out to help him get that fire out. There he comes. Appreciate all the fire and rescue people that are here to assist.
So let's just go back. This is the last stop. They have a flat tire. I kind of want to see, they got to pull the car up. What's this left front look like when it comes off? It's obviously flat, but I can't tell, did they do any work to it? They just put another tire right on, so I don't. It seems very odd, a couple flat left fronts in a row, Kim.
And Steve, when I just checked in with the team, they said when they blew that left front, it caught the rocker box. So I'm not sure exactly why that would have caused that issue. Maybe you can elaborate.
Yeah, so I mean, the left front tire, so what happened in Indianapolis was exhaust issues that got broken and they blew on the carbon fiber. But that, if we stay on this shot just for a second, the exhaust issue is way back here, right? Back around the door number where the exhaust comes out, the fireman's in the way right now. This fire is much farther forward. This isn't an exhaust thing. The flat tire obviously has pulled an oil line, a brake line, fluid, and then once that catches on fire, I mean, you see the damage. The carbon fiber will burn. It kind of smolders and melts. It's not like it burns like wood, but definitely a scary situation for Custer.
Let's listen to some 8 radio.
I think we're blowing up. It just dropped a cylinder, it sounds like. Okay, can you describe anything to me? Temps look good. Is it the middle dash or the top one?
Wow, that's some unfortunate information from the 8 car. Tyler Reddick having such a great run today. Possibly having some motor issues here.
Man, you look at this. This is why I think this fluid as well. The back straightaway is covered with Speedy Dry. So it tells me that something was leaking out of that car with the flat left front tire.
See the possible engine problem with the 8 car. His teammate Austin Dillon, he caught a brake right there, stayed out. He's running 5th.
So, you know, what is unfortunate for some is a big break for others, right? So Eric Jones had yet to come to pit road. Michigan driver said this would just be a big opportunity for him. Behind him, you have Chris Buescher, Suarez, Briscoe. Look at all these guys. The first car that pitted was Hamlin right there. I'm going to draw a line. Everybody in front of those guys stayed out. And now they're going to have to pit, but they've gained some track position because the big thing is if I draw another line right here, that's all the cars in the lead lap. Wallace and Gibbs, they're a lap down. Wallace will get the free pass, but then Gibbs and those cars are going to have to perhaps take the wave around. We'll see where they all line up. The big issue as we go back even further is the 9 of Chase Elliott. He's in 24th. He came down pit road. He should have easily stayed close to the lead lap. Instead, they had a 19.8 second pit stop. He was 13th prior to the cycle. That pit stop, there's the 2 of them. The 2 guys that had the pit stops, one 19.3, one 18.6. Both of those slow stops under green. They don't hurt awful if the cycle rolls through, but this is the worst case scenario. Now the cautions come out and you're trapped a lap down.
And we talk about, too, the drivers that come into the race needing to win, guys that could win to rocket themselves into the playoffs. Eric Jones at the top of this list. He gets a good break here, but he also has a top 5, top 3, arguably, race car. And you don't want to give that kind of guy a break like this.
Yeah, a good break to a fast car. That spells disaster to everyone else. The other big issue right here is the 11 will be the first car to stay on the racetrack. So if you are behind the 11 and a lap down, your wave around opportunity doesn't exist. You're trapped. If you're in front of the 11, you have the chance to wave around. We're going to check all that. We come back after the commercial. Fire on the 41. Luckily got put out. Scary situation.
Back at Michigan under caution. Pit road is open. Cars coming down pit road, Kim.
And Eric Jones pits from the first position. Fortuitous caution for them. They were about to come down before Cole Custer caught fire. Just a little bit snug. It's going to be 4 tires, a chassis adjustment to free him up just a little bit. Sunoco fuel for Eric Jones, Parker.
Then center your screen, Daniel Suarez will pit out of the 3rd position, also aided by that caution there to get some track position here. Just good on the short run, not as good on the long run. The team telling him he's comparable to others in dirty air.
Boy, welcome back, Scott Graves, crew chief for Chris Buescher, who told me this morning we're not racing for points, we're racing for the win. That strategy, keeping them out there, waiting on the fuel right here. And it was funny, Buescher said on the radio, Junior, are we the fast? He said, no, you're second. He goes, awesome, I didn't know idea that would happen, but they caught that lucky caution right there.
Had a lot of cars on pit road. A lot of cars stayed out, though. We're going to sort it all out when we come back. NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Propane, the environmentally friendly energy for everyone. And by All You Can Eat Wings and More at Golden Corral, the only one for everyone. Let's head down to the pits. Marty, what you got on the 9 car?
Well, Chase Elliott, it's been a rough day after really a month and a half of perfectly clean races. Last 2 weeks have been kind of rough on the 19. Steve, here's the stop the last time, and the right problems on the right front. So this car, the new car, has to be up in the air to get the wheels tight. They dropped the jack too soon. The right front was not tight, and so they've lost all this track position for Chase Elliott.
Yeah, so bad news, slow stop. Good news, chances of a loose wheel go way down. I think those wheels earlier in the year were the ones that were coming off, right? Guys were trying to tighten them after the car had hit the ground. So
Chase Elliott's one of many cars that's going to get the wave around, get back in the lead lap. The 45, the 48, the 12, the 22, the 9, the 1, the 7, the 31, all those guys took the wave around to get themselves back in the lead lap.
So now we're back to the spot of really we have no one lap down. How about that? Interesting spot in the race.
And now you see all the cars that stayed out on the racetrack all the way back to the 5th row where Christopher Buescher is. Marty, what you got on this 23 car?
16 to go in the stage, Juniors. You see the top left of your screen. And interesting move, Steve, by Booty Barker here. He brought Bubba Wallace down pit road, put on 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel as well, and a big adjustment. That car has been super tight for Bubba Wallace. So you think that Booty might be setting up maybe a strategy play coming up here at the end of stage 2, Steve?
Well, I think he ended up being in that timing struggle. He was the free pass car. So he's going to line up the same situation regardless. Now, normally he would be the tail end of the longest line. The reason it looks funny at this situation is because all of those wave-around cars line up behind the free pass. So it's kind of like, look, if you're on the lead lap, you line up here. If you're a lap down, then you get to line up. Free pass, we just gave you a free lap, you line up, and then the other guys were like, no, wait a minute. We let you just freely drive all the way around a racetrack, so you line up all the way at the back. So rarely do we see the free pass line up in the middle of the pack, but we have that situation here, Marty.
And Steve, also keep in mind, 96 to go in the race. So Dave Rogers telling me, hey, we might be able to do it on one more stop. We packed it full of fuel, so maybe they can make that happen as well.
Yeah, this 8 car, let's listen to the 8.
Sorry, I'm smelling smoke. I don't want to oil the whole damn track down.
Tyler Reddick smells the smoke, doesn't want to blow up and upset the whole race. I appreciate that. We'll see what his team decides to do, but here they come, Junior.
Back up front, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, 15 to go in stage 2. 95 laps to go in the race. Great jump by the 11 car, but good organization on the inside. The 2 Fords, the 6 of Keselowski, and Harvick off into the lead.
The 3 of Dillon, way up the hill.
Harvick's able to stay alongside Denny Hamlin. I didn't think he could through 1 and 2. The outside's been so much better. Let's see what Harvick does. Big run coming from behind here.
That run stalls out. Really doesn't help Denny as much as he'd like. Came a little bit too late. Side by side through 3 and 4. Harvick's going to get beat off the corner here. He drives way low down the racetrack. He's going to slide in behind this 11 car and give the lead to Denny Hamlin down the front straightaway.
That's got to be a little bit of optimism, though, for Kevin Harvick to be able to stay that close to Denny Hamlin with that outside lane.
Back behind these guys, 3 wide, 2 rows deep. Got to take it. Oh, little contact right there almost. Off corner exit. Man, it's so tight back there. 48 car, but Bowman in the 23 almost getting together.
Logano in that 22 car, he's just struggled all day long. You see him up the racetrack. Bowman trying to get on the outside of him.
Ross Chastain in front of Ty Gibbs. Oh, he's got to squeeze right in there. He has to lift off the gas. Don't give me that opportunity. I'll put it in there is what he said.
Harvick again going to the bottom. I'm really impressed with Harvick's car right here. He can stay on that bottom.
You and everybody else, man, I cannot believe he's up here battling for the lead.
Bravo. I don't know where they finished. I didn't see this coming. Rodney Childers trying to make a big statement.
Big run into 3. Hamlin's able to power back now. Here comes Bell. Can Harvick slide up in front of Bell? There he goes.
Bell to the inside down the front straightaway. Side by side for second. Christopher Bell, Kevin Harvick. Can't quite do it. Harvick battles back on the outside. Really tight down into turn 1.
Now Harvick has that preferred lane like we saw Denny Hamlin had. Bell able to hang with him. Now turning away from him, trying to get away from that side draft. Now trying to pull Harvick back to him. Tries to overdrive the corner. Now he slides up in for cautions
we
out.
got a yellow. We got a car spinning down the backstretch. Oh, Noah Gragson in the 16 having a nice run after a fast car yesterday. Looks like some damage on the right front corner. Oh yeah, some pretty big damage on the nose of the 16 car.
Right rear corner as well. Look at that car.
That's the crab walk. Yeah,
looks like it broke a toe link.
He's running 12th. Yeah, the right front, right rear, both damaged.
So now this is something the team's practiced to change. I think they might be able to change the toe link. I'm more concerned about the damage to the front. I'm not sure, you know, they could fix that, even as crazy as that car looks.
Body damage as well.
Not sure exactly what happened. When I looked up, he was already basically at the end of the backstretch backwards.
It's been a good day for Noah. He's been able to show some glimpses of potential running in the top 5 earlier. As we watch off this turn 3 camera down the back straightaway, he's looks like a lot of guys going to avoid, and he spins back into the wall. So there is some damage to the right side of that car, and you wonder if maybe he lost the air, got tight, made contact with the wall on corner exit of turn 2. Look at this 45 car, Ty Gibbs up the racetrack as well. I'm wondering if the 16 maybe had the same thing happen off 2, and you see all these cars move to avoid and then he spins back across the racetrack. Here we may see this contact. Yep, right there. That breaks the toe link.
Yep.
Then he comes down the racetrack and spins in front of the field. This is Ty Gibbs up the racetrack in the dirty racetrack, way out of the groove.
Both are young drivers. Both are young drivers on the same lap, getting themselves in trouble.
Getting a little experience.
All right, so you said broke a right rear toe link because I think it was the initial contact that then ended up making him spin around again when the component broke. So let's show the fans at home exactly what a toe link is. Remember, in the next-gen cars, we take a look at our Toyota virtual car. The rear suspension is independent. It's not a solid rear axle anymore. So that means if we take away some of the rear suspension and sheet metal, you can take a look. In the right-hand side of this car, we've highlighted it yellow for you so you can have a better look. That is the component that keeps that right rear tire pointed straight. That is the toe link. What they're going to attempt to do is jack it up, remove those two bolts, take the toe link out, hope that the slug and a couple of the other spaces don't disappear. That's usually what you drop and make this project harder than it needs to be. You put the toe link back in, the new one, you put the bolts back in, but that's the component that broke. And as soon as that breaks, then that right rear tire can go turn left or right as much as it wants. And that's I think they're taking a look at it. I'm not sure if they're even going to try to change it at this point, probably because of the damage on the front.
Yeah, it hit pretty hard.
He hit the fence, thought he had it saved, and then it steered on its own. And
yeah,
he was going around.
Then it's a forklift at that point.
I've had cars called forklifts before by the man standing to my left.
And you see the team waving to the crew chief on the box.
Yeah. So it's funny, right? Because a week ago at Indianapolis, we see them 5 wide, banging into each other left and right. And cars continue. But then here, and now it's pretty hard contact. It breaks part of the suspension. Now, I'm kind of okay with that. I thought that was hard enough contact for it to be something that breaks. As we see the 4 and the 20 come to pit road, I'm a little surprised by this. I thought everybody was in a one-stop window. The 4 and the 20 must not have been, Kim.
And they reminded Kevin, watch the first section, do not speed on this. Really the only complaint, just a little bit tight through the corners for Kevin. It's just going to be 2 tires, Parker.
Right, and just fuel only for Christopher Bell here as they try to do something different strategy-wise, Marty.
Going to be fuel only for Martin Truex Jr. and Steve. I wonder if this is a play to say, hey, those coming down pit road right now, we're going for the win. We're going to stay out here in a little bit and make it on one more stop. Everybody else going for stage points to be awarded here in about 9 laps.
Well, Marty, I think these guys are staying out, but I think like we've seen before, I think all these cars are actually a stop behind. When we look at the cars that have stayed on the racetrack, Brad Keselowski, Suarez, Larson, Jones, they were all in last on pit road at 102. That's 98 laps to the end of this race. We think you could go 50 laps. So I know it looks like these guys that are pitted are, an aggressive strategy, we're going to stay out at the end of the stage. I actually think every car is going to stay out at 9 more laps. Everyone thinks I only need to pit one more time for Sunoco fuel to make it to the finish. I think there's actually a counter by those other crew chiefs. I think the 19 of those guys saw the writing, Jeff, and they said, all right, we are not in a very good spot here because we're a pit stop behind. So you kind of got to take your medicine right away, right? Like the 11 of Denny Hamlin, he stays out, pitted at 94. I bet if we jumped on board right here, this car is going to be getting shut off, running in high gear, save some fuel.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin right now is a driver. He's looking around doing, why? Everybody else, why didn't we? You know what I mean? You're really starting to question what's happening.
8-car Tyler Reddick pulled behind the wall to update his situation.
And Ryan Blaney had to come back down pit road again for some reason.
Get ready for an all-access pass to the world of NASCAR like you've never seen it before. The drama, the pressure, and the danger, all to become a champion. Don't miss the new NASCAR docu-series, Race for the Championship. It premieres September 1st on USA. It's an incredible series I think people are going to love. I'm telling you what, the camera shots, the angles, the editing, the production, it's a behind-the-scenes look at everything going on in this sport. You're going to learn more, see more than we can provide you here in the broadcast. It's incredible. I've seen a lot of the stuff.
And hats off to the teams and the drivers.
Yeah,
because without those guys saying, you know what, I'm willing to be followed everywhere I go by a camera, You know, that's the access. If you want full access, you got to have it all the time. So it's great, and I love how USA has leaned into their NASCAR coverage. 14 of the next 15 races between Xfinity and Cup are on USA, and now this docu-series is coming. You know, the NASCAR fan could go to USA, have a ton of coverage, a little Austin Dillon show on there, so a lot of NASCAR coverage on USA.
And it's also not just the good stuff. It gets you behind the scenes to show you the struggles, the fights, how difficult it is in this sport to make your way, and not only for the drivers and the team, but their families as well. It is a very tough way to make a living, Parker.
Guys, let's get a Toyota driver update on Denny Hamlin and take a listen to his crew chief, Chris Gabehart, on why they made this decision to stay out here.
Our focus is to get this playoff point. I got some other stuff going on in here that we'll talk about later, but this is the play that we needed to make. So we'll get the playoff point, move forward.
Okay.
Steve, sometimes as a crew chief, you got to sell that driver on why you just made the decision you did. I did ask Chris Gabehart here, can you make it on one more stop? He looked at me and sort of said close, but there's a bigger picture at play here. So this 11 possibly will have to have more fuel to get to the end of this race than the other cars.
That okay
didn't sound too convincing.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I'm on board, but I'm kind of like 1 foot on board. Like,
you saw the exact same thing yesterday in the Xfinity race with Noah Gragson. They stayed out to win that stage, to try to win stage 2, and it cost them an opportunity to try to win the race. Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, bring them down the front straightaway for a restart. 8 laps to go, coming to 7 to go in stage 2. We're back under racing here. Back under green to the front straightaway, heading into turn 1.
Big push from Larson to Brad Kay, getting into turn 1.
A lot of contact here on this restart. Getting a little more aggressive here as we get later in this race and closer to a stage point opportunity for these guys in stage 2. 3 wide down the back straightaway. Keselowski, the meat and the sandwich.
Comes Daniel Suarez. Haven't talked much about him today. Taking a look at Hamlin into 3.
How about Briscoe as well? Some Fords up there, a bunch of Fords. Although now the 14 in the middle.
Oh, whoa.
Oh boy.
Almost pushing the 43 of Eric Jones into the fence. Eric gets an assist from the 48. Bowman.
Austin Dillon and Bubba Wallace on the bottom.
They get huge runs down the front straightaway working together. All these guys working really hard here as we come 5 to go in stage 2. Everybody trying to find a way into that top 10, trying to get every position they can, every point they can. Out front, though, Denny Hamlin pretty comfortably over Daniel Suarez. Larson closing in on that 99 car for second.
I'm going to tell you, more players at the front of the field than what I expected after watching practice. I thought this was going to be a little bit of a dominated race. The yellows have definitely churned it up a little bit, but even the racing, the Chevrolets, the Fords, we've had all 3 manufacturers kind of find their way to the front at times.
Heard that call by Chris Gabehart to keep Denny Hamlin out to win this stage, to get that playoff point. You got to win the stage.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're going to gamble this much to lose track position, you got to execute and get this stage win.
Coming to 4 to go here. I like his situation. Haven't seen a lot of Daniel Suarez up in the top 5, and I don't know if he has the race car to go up there and pass that 11. It's going to need a little help, too, from this 5 car. It's going to need some pushes down the straightaways. Partner.
They've been happy to handling that 99 car for Daniel Suarez. He finds himself in second, but the harder or bigger issue for him might be holding off that 5 car, considering that he's had issues with that rear view camera inside that race car and having to use the actual mirror right now. It's been going intermittently in and out, especially at high RPM, so he's not been able to rely on that rear view camera, which a lot of the younger drivers have. It's a driver's choice, but those Trackhouse drivers have used it to good effect this year. Right now, he's having to race without it and hold off that 5, Marty.
Parker, Kyle Larson right behind him, and I agree with what you said a moment ago, Steve. There's a lot more players in the mix than I thought there would be today. Chevrolet, Hendrick Motorsports really struggled in practice, so they made some guesswork with setup-wise, and it has really paid off for Hendrick and for really everyone in the Chevrolet bunch, because they have run way better than we expected today. Hendrick Motorsports has not won at Michigan since 2014. Jeff Gordon put it in victory lane that day. Kyle Larson trying to make it another Hendrick win here in the Irish Hills.
We talked a lot about Blaney. We talked a lot about Harvick and Truex. The 43 a little bit. Well, how about the 3? The 3 of Austin Dillon, right? He's up here. fighting for everything he's worth, trying to hold off where he can. You see the 24 of Byron right there as well. So the 3 of Dillon are actually ahead of this battle a little bit, having a nice day. Bowen ahead of this battle a little bit. Bowman and Dillon have been looking to be ahead of some battles for quite some time. They just haven't had great runs. They've been kind of stuck in traffic.
Well, that last restart, the 2 best guys that did it, Ross Chastain in this 1 car picked up 11 spots. Austin Dillon picked up 7. We talk about how important restarts are. That shows you if you get an opportunity, you can get some spots. You better get them right then.
They get the white flag here as we come to the end of stage 2. These guys right here battling for 9th and 10th position. Everybody behind them trying to take advantage of it. Any kind of momentum lost. 1 car with a big run here on Logano. Going to push Logano down the back straightaway. Denny Hamlin over Suarez coming through turns 3 and 4. Denny Hamlin off of turn 4 down the front straightaway to the flag stands. Going to win his 3rd stage win this season. That tells you not a lot of playoff points for this team. They stayed out, wanted to get this playoff point, wanted to put themselves in a better position, and they made it happen. Now, what happens for those guys going forward? How do they get that track position back? We're going to find out in stage 3 when we return.
Now for Joe Gibbs Racing today. Now JGR, as far as their history here at Michigan goes, they have 8 wins at this racetrack, but they have not been in victory lane here since 2015 when Matt Kenseth took the checkered flag. Now with the 18 of Kyle Busch not finishing this race due to that early incident in stage 1, there are 3 more opportunities for Joe Gibbs Racing to make that win number 9 here today at Michigan. Still 1 more stage to go, but a lot of racing left and a lot of on-track action still ahead. All right, let's make this stage 3 something interesting. Bro, if Kevin Harvick comes out here and pulls off a win, I'd just be so good. It would just be so good. Huh? If Harvick comes out here and pulls off a win, like the next 3 races would just be chaos. Oh. But alas, who knows?
Welcome back to NASCAR Cup Series racing here in Michigan, presented by Golden Corral. That is Jerry's Pub. Great place here, just down the road from the racetrack. Great food, great beer, friendly service. I've been there a time or 2. I know you guys have.
I'm telling you. You said it. Great beer, which basically means cold and on tap. It was A+.
I was with Steve, which means a lot of it, too.
And we're showing you the crowd here in the infield. It's a sellout in the infield. That hasn't happened since 2012. So from one end of this racetrack to the other, full of campers, full of happy race fans, thrilled to be here this weekend.
I tell you, look at the stands. This year has really just felt different, you know? Getting past the pandemic, people coming back to the racetracks. Everywhere we have gone has been just packed electric, campers everywhere. Pocono was slammed full. This place is full.
It's a big energy around the whole sport right now. Just people are fired up. The race has been great. Fans are coming out. Huge parties, music everywhere this week. Racetrack did a great job. Just a fun time.
We come to the end of stage 2, and crews on pit road are getting ready to bring their drivers in for some service. I think everybody's coming here, but some are going to have to be there longer than the others.
I don't know how many are coming. I think there's a few that can make it on one stop, and they're going to stay on the racetrack. Split decision. We have sub coming to pit road, Kim.
And it's going to be fuel only for Eric Jones. They're setting themselves up for a shorter fuel stop before the end of the race. 3 seconds of fuel is what Dave Ellen said, Parker.
And we got more info on the 11. Basically, they didn't get it as full as they wanted to before, so they stayed out to get that playoff point. They're also, you have to put a lot of fuel in here, so they're going to do 4 tires in the 11 party.
Boy, look at that mix bag. A lot of cars staying on the track, flashing by Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace as well. It was fuel only on the last stop for Larson, so those tires were fairly old. And Cliff Daniels made the point, Steve. Everyone who did not stop here will have a very long stop when they do stop one more time today. So interesting strategy all over the map here in Michigan.
It is all over the map. And somebody who's been all over the map today, our old buddy Brad Doherty started on pit road. He sabotaged my umbrella. He came up to the booth. Now he's back to pit road. So Brad, listen, we just talked about the campers, the fans. I know you love racing. That's
Absolutely.
why you're an owner in it. That's why you take part of it. Talk about just what it feels like to come to the racetrack with this place being full.
Man, this is absolutely phenomenal. This infield is packed with people. Haven't seen this in a long time. It has absolutely been a buzz around here all weekend. Everybody's excited to see these hot rods, see these guys run 200 miles an hour. I'm so excited. It's been a great day. I'm glad the weather's held off. The question I have is yesterday we were freaking out when Noah Gragson stayed out for that playoff point. Did Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson make a mistake? That's what I need to know the answer of. Are they in trouble? Have they pinned themselves too far back in the field?
Well, the 5 has pinned himself even farther, Brad, because he was speeding on pit road.
Oh, no, you can't do that.
You can't have that, Brad. So, Brad, I want to know 3 things.
Yes.
Did you find a dry shirt? Have you been to Jerry's? And who your favorite is looking at the rundown?
I've got a dry shirt. I have not been to Jerry's. And my favorite, as we get towards the end of this race, I'm liking a little bit of Kevin Harvick. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm liking me some Kevin Harvick right now.
Oh.
He's looking mighty sporty.
Brad, I love it. I love it. I appreciate it. We're going to fix the Jerry's thing next year. You just tag along. It's going to be great. Listen, what Brad says makes a lot of sense. Kevin Harvick, I didn't give them a chance when this race started. The 4-car has shown up when it mattered most. Now, they haven't closed the deal, but they at least have a car that I think has a shot at closing the deal. I haven't been able to say that in a lot of places there, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Kevin Harvick's had a lot of speed. He's been really aggressive on track. You see, whenever he's had a run at somebody, he would take it. He's going to restart 6th right here. In good position as far as with strategy, with fuel and all that, is in good position. So, yeah, I mean, listen, you can't let this team up. When you got them down, you better keep them down. And the fact that they've had the speed today, Kevin Harvick knows how to win. He's going to take the fight to these guys if he can. And yeah, this is the best they've been, in my opinion, on this kind of racetrack.
Coming to 75 to go. We're not going to worry about tires. We're going to assume everybody's tires are basically equal because tires haven't mattered a whole lot. I'm going to draw a line right here. Everyone north of this line can make it on fuel, needing only one more pit stop. The difference is they need more fuel. Jones, Larson, Bowman, everybody who just pitted, they're going to need about 25 laps less fuel. What does that equate to? 25 laps of fuel is about, we'll call it 4.5 gallons. Here's the issue. On a 4-tire pit stop, you can only put in 15 gallons of gas if you're going to drop the jack when the tires are tight. So if you need more than 15 gallons, you are sitting there waiting on that fuel can to dump. Under green, not a huge penalty. But if this cycles around into yellow and you have a 1, 2, 3 second slower stop trying to wait on that extra fuel, that will kill the front guy's strategy. Suarez to Jones, they need this thing to go, or to Dillon, they need it to go green. They need to just, be fine and pit under green. Everyone else is going to try to leapfrog them with a shorter pit stop. And now we see the 5 of Kyle Larson coming down pit road under penalty as the choose happens.
See Denny Hamlin, how far back he came after that pit stop. He's going to restart all the way back in about 16th place. Larson serving this penalty. Going ahead and put left side tires on.
Yep.
Make an adjustment to the car. Marty.
Jeff, has been a solid but not spectacular day for Steve's pick to win the race, Martin Truex Jr., and some frustration on the radio under the last caution. Listen.
We can't pit again. We keep pitting. We ain't going anywhere. And because it all went bad, now you want to pit again. Screw up the rest of the race. I've lost it where we're at here, that's all.
We're so tight on restarts. Everybody else on the same strategy manages to keep going forward, and we go backwards every restart, so.
Got to get as many as we can now.
So, Steve, some upset feelings about restarts, not getting stage points. And James Small did tell Martin, listen, when we give you a number, that means that's where I want you to go on the restart. Please listen to me. It'll help everybody.
I hear some jabs. I hear some jabs from the crew chief, some jabs from the driver. I've been there. I'm an expert at that. I've been in them arguments.
Well, my comeback used to be, we're going to talk about that on Tuesday. Let's just work on this restart right here.
Well, the other thing was, when I give you a number, go where I tell you, meaning on this choose, pick the lane I'm telling you to pick, but Martin's picking the lane he wants to pick. James Smalls is saying, okay, that's fine, but it's not working. You need to listen to us.
It's crunch time. The regular season is coming to an end, and they all know it.
Stage 3 getting ready to get started here. 74 laps to go. Suarez, Christopher Bell up front. We're back under green. Everything's more important now. The restarts. The position's looking Austin Dillon to the outside. He's going to try to make that work. Can't even do it. Not enough momentum around the top there. Suarez still tight on the door. 3 wide for the lead on turn 2. Suarez clear out into the lead. Here comes his teammate Ross down on the inside. They get after on these restarts. It's really a great opportunity to try to take advantage of some guys, get some positions.
There's Denny Hamlin. He had a great restart right here. Look how far up the race field that he already is. Denny Hamlin's picked up 5 spots already.
I talk a lot about strategy, but you know what helps make the strategy look good? That's a fast race car. Makes a lot of things look better.
He's already, look, he's already in front of Truex. You heard James Smalls frustrated about the restarts. Teammates started behind him, already the 11 cars in front of him.
Back up front, Suarez still leading Christopher Bell. Clean air for that 99 car is his friend. He's going to have to try to block any kind of momentum and run this 20 car has. Christopher Bell to the bottom of the racetrack. Can he draw even? Can he get up underneath this 99? Can't do it. And Hamlin still moving forward behind these guys back there, taking over 7th from Briscoe. He'll be in this battle here soon enough.
Christopher this time went up to the top of the racetrack on corner exit, trying to carry a little momentum down the straight. Trying to understand where the 99 car is strong and where he's weak. Take advantage of your strengths and take advantage of his weaknesses. That's what he's trying to do right now. Such an interesting line, how they drive in the corner low and washes up the racetrack. This allows them to be in the throttle to gain this speed down the straights.
Down to 3 right here, 2.5, half a lane lower, 1 lane lower, almost to the white line.
Frank Kimmel
Now
squared
squared
up
up.
the 99.
Got really tight on exit, no run. Still 2 back here. Still 2, squared up, half up. 1 up. 3 back. Still 3.
Frank Kimmel the third, the son of Frankie Kimmel, the ARCA driver that won so many races. Great racing family.
I love the info and the cadence. Talk to him in the corners, give him an update on corner exit, and be quiet down the straightaway. Let your man have some time to himself, and then jump right back in on the next set of corners.
All right, so this time Bell showed him something a little different. Entered high and then turned left, trying to get underneath him on corner exit. That was a different move. Bell showed him something that Suarez wasn't expecting. like to me the 20 car is a little better in 1 and 2. Maybe the 99 is a little better in 3 and 4.
Suarez doing an awesome job, though, to maintain this lead. Doing everything right.
And with 68 laps to go, everybody needs one more stop on fuel. Kyle Larson with that speeding penalty, he's back to 16th. But now it's just really hard back there, one spot at a time, very slowly moving his way through.
Yeah, Denny actually stuck still behind Chase Briscoe, not able to move forward. Great battle right here between Ty Gibbs and Truex for 10th position. Ty Gibbs going to slide up in front of the 19 here. Takeaway is there. Look, the 19 had to come off the throttle there. That's going to cost him a little momentum.
A little momentum and maybe another spot or two.
But he gets a big push and a huge run back to the back bumper, this 45 car heading into turn 1.
Busch was pretty nice right there. I thought he was going to pull it.
Oh, 48, way up the racetrack.
I couldn't tell if he was just a wiggle or if he had help.
All those guys got such a huge run down the front straightaway, and Truex decided to stay in line, and I think the chain reaction of everyone kind of lifting for that movement. Really, the 48 had nowhere to go. I think he just hit some. There's no contact.
He got loose. He got in the corner. He's on the back of the car dancing around. He just got loose getting in the corner.
Really a good thing the 43 was that far behind him. If he'd been right on his bumper, that could have been day over.
It happened so quickly. I actually thought the 43 had gotten into him when I saw it. Seeing a replay, there was no contact. And back to work you go. That's what's crazy. Like, you get that loose, getting in the corner, you just got to go back to work.
Some great battles here as Daniel Suarez continues to lead over Christopher Bell at Michigan. Big battle for the lead down into turn 1. Christopher Bell to the inside of Daniel Suarez. Daniel fights back on the outside. Christopher Bell has worked so hard to put himself in this position.
Now they're side by side. That's going to allow Ross Chastain to get a big run. Christopher smartly jumps in behind him.
I'm not letting those Trackhouse cars get nose to tail. I'm getting in there.
Oh, goodness.
I thought for sure the one had such a run. Yeah, there you go.
Man, Suarez is starting to struggle here with the balance of that race car.
Suarez is clearly tight. Front of the car is not working as well as it was before. Parker.
And Frank Kimmel, who we listened to earlier, spotting there for the 99 of Daniel Suarez, came on the radio and said the one says he will push us if you pin that 20 down to the bottom. So he knows he has help if he just keeps the 20 of Christopher Bell to the bottom.
Well, that's nice to know. I don't. That 20 car is just so fast. The big thing Christopher's got to do, we talked about it earlier, the speed right here, right in the middle of 3 and 4, seems like it's reversed. He has the speed in 3 and 4 now.
And Daniel hasn't moved up the racetrack in 3 and 4, and I think that that's because he's so tight down there. He's afraid that if he goes up there, it's going to be tighter and even worse. And it's a risk you take, but that's the only way he can really kind of take away that advantage the 20 has of running that higher line.
Yeah, are you going what's better for you or what's worse for him? You know, it's kind of a catch-22.
Well, Bell wants the outside. If Bell could ever get to the outside of him, it would be game over.
Another big run.
See, Bell doesn't even go left. He knows he got to get a run on the outside, try to carry some momentum. He's got a big run right here. Going to get tight on corner exit.
Finally, Suarez goes up the racetrack to kind of take that line away, and you see what it does. It backs them both up to this one car.
We didn't see the speed out of Trackhouse in practice. Big improvements in the race, though.
Bell faked to the bottom, then goes back to the top, trying to draw the 99 down. Didn't make it happen.
This does change Bell's attitude, though, and what he can do. He knows that if he gets underneath Suarez and he can't clear it, he knows that Ross Chastain is going to go with his teammate. He didn't have to hear the radio transmission to understand that. He knows how teamwork's going to work together.
I laugh at you drivers. Fake to the bottom at 202 miles an hour. We're going to fake left and go right.
He's just trying to do anything he can to get this 99 off the top of the racetrack down here in 1 and 2.
And 99's having no part of it. Says, no.
He can almost get this run here. Look, he might be beside him off of turn 2. He didn't quite get there. That's frustrating. Down here in turn 3. He's going to go lower, lower, lower. 99 sees that in the mirror. He drives down the racetrack, but now both these cars are tight. On corner exit.
That's just going to drag the one.
You're going to make you earn it today, bud.
There you go. That was the radio for, I believe, the 20 spotter right there.
What a great battle. Every time, Junior, that little run right there, he's to him now. He's got to run.
And he's not side drafting because he doesn't want to slow them both down because he knows Ross is going to be right on top of him in a minute.
But here's decision time. Now he's committed. If he can't clear the 99, this might cost him second.
Now they're both out of gas. The one car's going to have a big run. Where does Ross go?
Oh.
Does Ross help his teammate? He's going to push the 99, just like he said.
Yep. So Christopher Bell trying to make a pass for the lead, ends up being in third. Now he's got 2 of them he's got to go by. That is so frustrating as a driver. If Christopher Bell could have cleared Suarez, I think he could drive away from him.
I'm frustrated, and I'm up here.
Well, this is drug. Joey Logano and Hamlin and Harvick, they were outside of 2.5, 3 seconds. Now they're both under a second.
Let's see what Ross does or how he tries to put something together that might be able to give him a chance to get around his teammate. He's going to get some great help right here. Big push off the front of that 20 car.
I don't know if Ross has the speed, but Ross doesn't want to give up. He just saw what happened. I think Ross right now is going to be a teammate and try to push him down the straight.
That was good information right there for all of us to see him go up there and push that 99. He had a chance to kind of move to the inside, maybe side draft and out drive him into 1 and take the spot, but decided to push him down the front straightaway. But I just think that being behind him in dirty air, you just wouldn't want to be there. If you're trying to win this race, no way do you want to. Look, to the inside he goes. I just don't think no way you want to be riding in dirty air behind your teammate and helping him out too much.
I hear you, but we are coming up to a pit stop. They're about 7 or 8 laps from the 99 needing fuel. So if you could push your teammate out there a little bit, you're going to get him a little bit of breathing room to come to pit road.
Well, behind this battle is Denny Hamlin, and Denny Hamlin is coming. There he is right there. Denny Hamlin is much faster than these guys in front.
We will drive away. Dang it.
Not sure which car that was. That's the 1. So I think he's wanting to work together and try to drive away from the 20. Easier said than done.
So he runs his high side to know that he's going to get the momentum off the corner to get back to the bumper of the 99. If the 99 can trust him that he will not try to make a pass, they'll both push each other away. But Denny Hamlin is clawing into this fight really quickly.
It's turning into a tag team match. And he's telling Bell, here comes your Gibbs buddy. I'm coming with you. It's 2-on-1. Let's try to square this up 2-on-2.
Bell on the very bottom of the racetrack. That's really going to get him tight on corner exit. You know, it's become even more difficult for Bell now because the 2 cars in front of him are offset from each other, and that's taking more air off of his car. So when he only had 1 car in front of him, he could get away from the 99, but now he's got 2. And look what they're doing. They're taking they're taking twice the wake away to the 20 car.
Final pit window now open. Stops when we come back. Welcome back, NASCAR Cup Series racing from Michigan, presented by Golden Corral. An incredible race shaping up as we get closing in to the end of stage 3 and the end of this race, Kim.
And you see Austin Dillon there on the pit lane taking tires. Crew Chief Justin Alexander said the 2 things working in their favor. This is one of Austin's better tracks, and it's more conducive to different strategies, which we've seen all race long. Austin said he's pretty happy with the handling on that 3 car.
So the first one to make green flag pit stops. Quick update on the leaders. The 99 of Daniel Suarez, last on pit road at 102, 50 laps ago. So while they can all make it, he's going to be the first requirement to come to pit road. He has to come first. How long will Chastain wait? We don't know. 14 on pit road now, Kim.
Yeah, and crew chief Johnny Klossmeyer said the goal is to have an uneventful day, meaning they can't make any mistakes specifically on pit road. You saw the chassis adjustment there, 4 tires, Sunoco fuel as Chase Briscoe is finishing up his stop.
Yeah, we're hearing the 14 brush the wall. That may have forced the pit stop to come a little early. So really it comes down to Suarez, Chastain, Hamlin, Bell, right? They're all going to make a pit stop. How can they execute? Suarez needs a little bit more fuel than Chastain, who needs a little bit more fuel than Hamlin. Will that play a difference?
The other part of that, you talk about executing, how do you get on pit road? Does the driver get on pit road? This is when we saw the 5 car. He had a speeding penalty earlier on these green flag stops. You're tempted to get in there a little bit too hard, Marty, and get a speeding penalty.
And man, Kyle Larson is rolling. It's taken him 27 laps to go from 24th up to 7th. The driver made the mistake on pit road with a speeding penalty. The driver trying to bail him out. And the other interesting point is that because of that speeding penalty, Cliff Daniels has put himself in a pretty good spot here to have a shorter stop, Steve, than everyone else on that final stop. Would you go fuel only if you were Cliff Daniels?
I don't think it's that much shorter. I think you're just going to still need enough time to put 4 tires on. That's the issue when I look at all these guys with shorter stops. I don't know if anybody is really going to wait a ton on fuel. This car right here, though, I think is the fastest car on the racetrack. He's driven back up into the top 5. Look at that, the Xfinity fastest lap. 190 miles an hour in the race as an average. I mean, this car is on rails.
Well, he is. He's running this pack down. Just ran the 2nd fastest speed that lap, a couple tenths faster than this lead trio. So Bubba Wallace bringing himself back into this battle. There he is. He's right 2. He's gotten close to Christopher Bell. He's bringing Kevin Harvick with him. We're going to have a 6-way battle.
I'm a little bit surprised by the 20 car. Christopher Bell falling off a little bit here. Not able to keep pace with his teammate Denny Hamlin. And Denny drove all the way up to 3rd place, but really doesn't have an answer for Trackhouse here. Christopher Bell on pit road, the 17 car.
Yeah, Buscher.
Sorry, Chris Buscher.
I had him. Listen, I still can't get the right driver in the 48. It's taking me 5 weeks.
Well, you're talking about Christopher Bell is falling off some. You wonder if he hurt his tires a little bit. In that battle with Suarez, did he maybe overload those front tires, and now he's paying the price for it?
10-second stop on Buscher, so a great stop. The fuel quantities, I don't think it's going to be as big a deal as we think. You know, 10 seconds, you can get 14, 15 gallons in. I just think these guys are getting better mileage than we think. They're stretching their tanks. I said that off the 99, who's now run 54 laps on this tank of fuel. He only has to run 44 to the finish.
Get your brake bias
There
right
we go.
this time.
Brake bias right.
This time here.
That's the 1 car and the 99, both coming to pit road.
Both coming together. So this will be a great opportunity to see if the fuel quantities do or do not make a difference. These cars pitted at different times. Will the amount of fuel make a difference on the pit stops?
And Steve, what a comeback there for Ross Chastain in that 1 car from that pit road penalty they had earlier, and played a great teammate. He probably had a better car than Daniel Suarez over that last part of that run, but stuck behind him and kept drafting, trying to hold off those cars behind him. You saw the 4 tires filled full fuel, and now Daniel Suarez waiting on that fuel as well. Just a little bit longer, he'll come out behind Chastain, but not far.
You called it live, Parker. It was just that much. 2 car lengths is how much the 99 had to wait on fuel. They both waited a little bit on the left side. The 99 longer than the 1. They flipped positions on pit road, and here comes the 11 of Hamlin. He stays on the racetrack, but the 4 of Harvick says, I'm going to join this group and come to pit road now. Kim.
And no surprise if you talked to Rodney Childers this morning, because he felt like they had a top 5 car for Kevin Harvick. Harvick radioing that he was definitely too tight when they only took 2 tires. So you see him finishing up his stop right there, Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick, nice on and off pit road. The 11 stays on the racetrack. So this has put the 2 Trackhouse cars.
We got a crash on the front straightaway. The 20 car, Christopher Bell, and the 1 get together, coming off a turn 4. Christopher Bell.
I'm gonna take you back up. Slow down.
Christopher Bell gets turned into the wall, not clear across the
Bring it to me this
nose
time.
of the 1 car of Ross Chastain.
Anything, Ben? I think it's killed.
Let's take a look at what happened through turn 3 and 4 as you look at the left front damage to the 1 car. Ross trying to go to the outside of the 20 here. He's got a good positioning. He goes to the outside, and the 20 trying to protect that position up the racetrack.
And Ross had just come out on tires, was trying to get back by the 20, and Christopher Bell just either didn't know he was there or was trying to block that position. Chastain with a really smart move right here. Looked like Bell was having a problem right there, and then they made contact.
So I'm the first guy I've been calling Ross Chastain out for some rough driving, but I mean, I think he was to the 20s outside. I mean, at that point, I know the 20 didn't mean to wreck himself, but right here, he comes low to block, and then he just comes up like the 1's not there.
Yeah, I just think this car, it's a little bit harder to see out of. All right, we know that some of the drivers run the digital mirror or camera, and maybe they don't have great information as far as where cars are clear, where cars are around them using that.
Yeah, the digital mirror, though, was Junior's better. I mean, it's better for a wider view.
Yeah, it's all subjective, and different drivers appreciate it, or some don't like it, some don't want to use it. But I just think that the understanding of being clear isn't as crystal clear, no pun intended, as it used to be.
Right. Well, listen, Christopher Bell might be mad at the 1 car, and he can have his own opinion, but I don't see the 1 as being egregious in that moment. I don't think he's doing anything crazy, rough. I mean, it's 40 to go in the race. He moves left, the 20 kind of blocks, he moves back right, and he's kind of getting a run there.
The only thing is like, this is not, this kind of throws the strategy that they had, that Trackhouse had, out the window, right? Ross doesn't need to create a caution right there.
No,
they need this to cycle through. Parker.
He's got the 11 there, Denny Hamlin, who pit here now under this caution. Just still a bit tight in that race car on the exit of the corners. They continue to make adjustments here and 4 tires and put it in the fuel, Marty.
Parker, this ought to be interesting. Second and third, pitted 1 and 2 on the pit stalls. Bubba Wallace came in third, or second rather, and Kyle Larson came in third. Wallace saying car needs to work a little bit better and needs a little bit more turn. Kyle Larson said his car was very edgy at the start, but this track position should help, and everyone holds their serve there. Top 3, Junior, stays the same.
Hamlin, Wallace, Larson off pit road first. Great gains by Bowman here at Michigan. We'll be back. Can you spot a liar? USA's new show has 4 teammates battling to find out which one of them is sabotaging their chance at $100,000. Snake in the Grass, hosted by Bobby Bones, coming up next on USA. Great aerial coverage today brought to you by Geico as we kind of unpack what's going on here at Michigan. Looking at some of the finishes, though, in the past. Look how close these are, guys. Logano just barely winning that one. Another close one there between Denny and the 4 car of Harvick. And then Ryan Blaney just beating that 24 across the finish line last year. Always seem to get these late yellows that provide us those opportunities to see those type of finishes. And we talked about how Trackhouse wanted that cycle work its way through. They didn't want a yellow flag. That yellow flag is going to trap the 1 car a lap down, Chastain, but it gives Suarez the opportunity to get back on the lead lap. I believe he was the free pass car there as we ride on the Coca-Cola cam.
Yeah, he definitely didn't want a yellow, and during this cycle right here, we've had a couple pretty big penalties. The first, speeding penalty by the youngster, 45 car, Ty Gibbs. He's done a really nice job. He's not going to be the only one that gets caught speeding on pit road, but it definitely stings when it's this late in the race. So Ty Gibbs got caught speeding the other penalty, and it's a big one. Denny Hamlin, the 11. Too many men over pit wall. So let's take a look at the pit stop. He's not getting penalized because the tire rolls away from the 11. Don't look at this right here. This tire's fine. The guy laying on pit road, they don't care about that. It's right here. We stop this. This man right here, watch him. He's in the pit box. You can't stand over pit wall. It's not the guy that leans over with his hand. NASCAR get rid of all that. They said, listen, if you touch it with your hand, that's like a ticky-tack foul. You're trying to keep tires from rolling away. That's a great idea. But when you're man in the opening, if we shoot where he is on pit road, you're going to see an opening next to his pit box. That white line is as good as a wall. And when you step over that white line with your 2 feet, not your hand, you are now standing on the hot side. That's too many men during a pit stop.
That's their 31st in-race penalty of the year. That is an unbelievable amount of penalties by that team.
And just an unforced error, because it looked to me like the guy could wait just a second and the tire probably would have rolled to him.
And now, just like that, the 4 guys we saw battling for the lead, they're no longer in the picture. Let's listen to some audio on the 11.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, I'm not making it up.
Why? What? All right. Damn.
And he knows because of the timing and where he's at, and it's just an unforced error.
But like I said, I mean, Trackhouse is gone. The 2 Gibbs cars are gone. This race is wide open for everybody else in the field. Kim.
And for Kevin Harvick, there's 2 things he's hoping to accomplish today. First, end that 65 race winless streak, and 2, get a win to get himself into the playoffs, because that's the only way the 4 team is going to get there. Right now, Kevin Harvick, he's going to have clean air, and this is the best they've unloaded all year long, is what the team told me. So much so, in fact, in practice yesterday, they did 1 single uninterrupted run, made no adjustments, and we're seeing that here today with a fast Ford for Kevin Harvick, Parker.
And Kim, Chris Gabehart, the crew chief for Denny Hamlin, the 11, is adamant that this team is a top 5 team every time they just simply execute. He actually has a term for it. When they just execute, those are green races in his metrics. This race right here, Marty, will not get a green.
Kevin Harvick and Bubba Wallace are going to lead us to this restart. Neither of these drivers in the top 16 points. Neither of these drivers have a win. Now in control of the race. 35 laps to go. We're back under green. Big push on the outside. An organization of 3 cars creating momentum to give Harvick the lead. Bubba down back to the bottom of the racetrack. Draws even with the 4. What's the 5 going to do? Who's he going to help? He's going with the 4 car down the back straightaway, going to push Harvick out there. He's going to take second place possibly from Bubba. Bubba's going to dive down into 3 here.
Bubba's up the racetrack, putting Larson in position. Larson doesn't lift. Larson stays on the outside. Look at the gain of track position. All that helped Kevin Harvick.
Big run by the 22. He's going to the inside. A block from Bubba. 3 wide now down into turn 1 and 2. Oh, the 22 up the racetrack into the 5. The 5 gets loose. Larson has to lift. Bubba battling back on the outside Logano.
Here comes Blaney taking advantage of that. These 2 Penske cars have not run well all day long. Here they are with 34 to go, 2nd and 4th.
Bubba back to the outside, has to lift off the gas. Can he stay there? He's going to have to get behind this 22.
That's the best thing Kevin Harvick could have hoped for right there. Look at the gain that he got. Look at that track position. And that 22 car really hasn't had the speed of the 23. So now you got a car, a little bit slower car than that 23, most likely in front of him, Marty.
And remember, Bubba Wallace has been terrific on the longer runs today. Really kept pace with his teammate, or his corporate teammate, Denny Hamlin, when they came up through the field last time. Steve, we talked about this in the pre-race. Bubba Wallace has been in a spot to win a day at Daytona and Talladega many times. He's never been in this position, having to beat Kevin Harvick, who's won here 5 times and a champion, having to beat Joey Logano, who's a champion. How does Bubba react now? He's back to 3rd. Everyone trying to keep him calm, but these next 33 laps, he could possibly pull off this win.
Well, on the left side, you see how fewer cars inside the top 5 have won races. Only Joey Logano. I think at this point, the chaos of the restart is over. 32 laps. This is where I want Spotter and crew chief. All right, Bubba, you did fine. We're still in 3rd. We haven't given this thing up yet. You fought hard with contact with Larson. Settle in. Give him some facts. Last run, you were this much better after 20 laps. This much better after 25 laps. You will catch him. Give him something to believe in.
Look at this guy, Denny Hamlin.
Oh, yeah.
12 spots since the start of the restart.
Both him and Larson trying to work their way back through the field after having 2 penalties. Last 2 laps on the racetrack, Logano in second, about a 1/10 of a second faster than Kevin Harvick in the lead. 5-car a little loose down there on the bottom, underneath his teammate. Marty.
Boy, this has been a very un-Chase Elliott-like day. In fact, before this last caution, his average running position today was 17.7 as we ride on board with the Xfinity onboard, but they got a great stop on that last stop. Remember, they had that problem earlier on, lost some track position. Chase Elliott now has that track position back. What can he do with it? And you got to give Alan Gustafson and Chase credit. They haven't given up all day long, and here they are in the top 10 with 30 to go.
Great shots with that Xfinity camera off the back of the 9-car here as his teammate Larson tries to get up there on the inside, has to settle in behind him, push him down the back straightaway. Denny Hamlin behind both these cars.
That speed well over 200 miles per hour. Larson trying to recover from that restart. Very chaotic. Underneath his teammate.
He's going to let him go. Yeah.
Kevin Harvick out front still by 1.5 seconds.
You talk about Kevin Harvick, let's not forget, right? It's not just not been the year he wants, it's been 65 races since Kevin Harvick has gone to victory lane. I mean, we're talking almost 2 seasons worth. So this is way more than make the playoffs. This is way more than, hey, the Fords are better, right? This is a champion who you do not want to give a shot of adrenaline. I don't know what turned it around today for the Fords, but you don't want this guy to get hot heading into the playoffs.
And if he wins today, I don't think the numbers and the stats are going to tell you what a shock this is. He's won 4 out of the last 6 races here at this racetrack, so he's going to chalk it up as another win, 6 wins, if he can get it done today, Kim.
And Kevin Harvick has been one of those drivers that admittedly at the beginning of the season struggled with this next-gen car. It just didn't suit him. He had to relearn certain racetracks, and crew chief Rodney Childers told me the second half of the season, kind of a light bulb has gone up. He is way more comfortable in these cars, so if Kevin gets a win, that definitely makes him a threat in the playoffs the more and more comfortable he gets racing in this next-gen.
Driving away from these guys. As you see the lead over Logano increasing, he's a couple tenths faster the last few laps. Logano's falling back into this little battle here with Bubba Wallace and Blaney. Blaney's showing a little speed as we check out another battle on the racetrack. 1-car Ross Chastain. He is 1 lap down, the only car 1 lap down, the only car that would get the free pass if the caution came out. He's hoping for that yellow to give him that opportunity.
There's 25 cars in the lead lap.
Marty, what you got on the 19 car?
Did you check out those playoff points, Junior? If Kevin Harvick wins this race in 26 laps, guess who would be out? Martin Truex Jr., who unbelievably is currently 4th in the regular season championship standings, so close to winning so many races this year. If Harvick pulls this off, Steve, boy, unbelievable that the 4th place guy in the regular season points will currently be out of the playoffs.
Just shows you a win is what everyone should expect it's going to take when the season starts. Bubba Wallace kind of lost a little ground to the 22, but Jeff, that last lap, he flipped it back to offense.
Well, that's been this weakness of this 22 car all day long, is they have okay speed when they take off, but the longer they run, it looks like they get tighter and tighter, and he can't carry that speed. So we talked about it earlier. That's a huge advantage to Kevin Harvick. He's out by 2.5 seconds right now. I think that 23 car with Bubba Wallace in it is faster, but he's going to have a tough time getting by Joey Logano.
Well, as these two are racing, Harvick has stretched it to 2.8 seconds, running the fastest laps we've seen from the 4 all day. Clean air, confidence. We've said the talent of Kevin Harvick was never the question. The talent of the team was never the question. They had to get that talent meshed together and get the car set correctly. Jeff, they got that thing set correctly so far.
Well, here you see Ford's in Michigan, 42 wins. Look at all the laps led, all the success. Ford, Mark Rushbrook, guy that runs the racing department for Ford, said The 4 wins in 2022 is just simply not enough. Lit a fire, everybody. This is the home of Ford. Be a great place to turn that around.
And Bubba Wallace is just beside himself in third, trying to find any way by Joey Logano. Faster, but just can't do it, and he knows that 4 is driving out away. Here we go. We got a run right here. Can Bubba find a way to get door to door with the 22?
Yeah, they've driven away from Blaney, so he can make a move here without worried about losing the spot to Blaney.
He tried to get to the inside there and make a little side draft happen, just couldn't get it done. He's going back to the top of the racetrack to create some momentum off of turn 4. Isn't able to do it. No run whatsoever down the front straightaway here. Back into turn 1.
And you see on the left side, the lead just continues to increase.
Blaney somehow has fallen off the back of this little battle here. And he's going to have some company. Eric Jones in that 43. We talked about the pace in this car today. And that 19 of Truex is showing up here late in this race as well. But behind him, there's some company. We see Bowman, but the 5 and the 11. Larson and Hamlin have finally worked their way up into this battle.
This is going to be a tough pass for Bubba Wallace. We saw Joey Logano beat Kevin Harvick a few years ago. Just took his air away for the last 20 laps. Harvick had a faster car. Logano is one of the very best at making it difficult for someone to make a pass on. Bubba Wallace has his hands full right here. He's got it. I don't know if he has enough time. 4 seconds out. Anything can happen. If he can clear Logano, does he have enough speed to run Harvick down?
Doesn't make it any better for Bubba that the car behind him is a Penske teammate of Logano. So, you know, if you get side by side, I think Bubba's going to think, I don't think Blaney's going to help me.
Yeah, looking at Blaney right there. He dips to the inside just a little bit. But the energy off the nose of that 12 car does create a little bit of speed for this 23 car, and you need to use it a little bit, even if he's not right behind you.
Look at the pack. The 22 has 10 cars smashed together.
Here goes the 23 at the bottom of the racetrack. Not able to get to the left rear quarter panel. Almost there.
Kevin Harvick and Joey Logano have had their differences in their life and in their career in NASCAR, but he might send a fruit basket to Logano if this all works out.
Well, here's Truex right here. And don't think for a minute that Truex doesn't know Kevin Harvick's leading this race. And we saw what would happen to the points if Harvick wins this race. Now we got an incredible point battle between that 12 car and that 19 car.
Truex is struggling right here, though. Side by side, he's going to have to get back in line. Not able to complete that pass on Eric Jones in the 43. Here comes the 11. Denny Hamlin, who's got around Larson, trying to complete the pass on the 48. Oh, almost contact with his teammate, really tight. Battle for second right there, top of your screen.
Blaney's got to get into this mix, Junior.
Can Bubba Wallace drive it down into the corner? You almost got to do a slide job here. Up the racetrack in front of the 22.
He's gone. It's his spot.
Leave no opportunity for Joey to do anything about it. And look at that. Drives away off of turn 2.
All right, so right now, Bubba Wallace's crew chief and his spotter need to be saying, all right, buddy, give me some laps. Give me some laps. Let's see how fast you can go. Harvick's out by 4.5 seconds. That's a ton to overcome.
Especially with 17 laps to go.
But we haven't seen how fast this 23 car is outside of traffic. This lap we won't really be able to tell because he just made a pass. Next time by, we're going to compare the lap times of the 4 to the 23. Let's see what kind of lap time Bubba Wallace can run now in clean air. If he runs him down 4.5 seconds and 17 laps, then he is sitting on a rocket ship.
Well, listen, there's more to even if he can't run him down. What if the caution comes out?
Yes, sir.
Now you've got yourself in a position where you can pick the lane that you want to pick.
That's why all those laps that Harvick was running before this pass happened matter so much, because he was trying to stretch that lead. And it's a big lead.
It's a huge lead. Let's see what the speeds are as they come across the line. 38.25 for Harvick. 38 flat for Bubba Wallace. So Bubba Wallace 0.2 a lap faster.
That's a big gain, even with a little bit of a toe for Harvick. Harvick got a little toe off the lap car there.
It's just not enough. It's going to have to be more. It's going to have to be something that slows Harvick down a little bit more than that. Coming to 15 to go here.
Bubba's going to replay this restart 100 times in his mind. Try to figure out what he could have done different. I mean, it was a full-on battle. I thought he could have lost more time at certain spots. Another lap. This one is a huge lap, I think, for Bubba Wallace. A 10 out of the leader at 05. No, a 15. Basically the same lap time. Harvick gets quicker this time. And that's disheartening. If you're Booty Barker, you didn't want to see that. As we see the 11 past the 43 from 5th, they're going to ask what if. What if they wouldn't have had that penalty? What if they could have started anywhere near the front on this final restart?
But you talked about it, the battle that Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson had at the beginning of that restart, that's what got Bubba Wallace so far back. Has a car with the right track position to win this race, just wasn't able to get it. These two guys right here have done a great job today. We have not seen speed from them in practice or in the race, really, for that matter. They've done a nice job with strategy to get here. They've done a good job 3rd and 4th. Also, Alex Bowman sitting there in 8th. He really struggled to qualify. And Eric Jones running in 7th. And Ty Gibbs, there he is. He has picked up, remember the penalty?
Yeah.
He's picked up 14 spots, driven through the field to get himself the top 10 right now. Kim.
You guys talk the importance of not giving up, especially with the playoff picture. How about Ryan Blaney? They were terrible yesterday, qualified in the 24th position, and today they were battling the same issues. Basically have thrown everything but the kitchen sink at it, and Blaney has done what he can with that, currently running in the 4th position, where his average running position during this race has been around 16th, so that car has done him no favors. He's doing the best with what he has underneath him, but with Harvick out front, this makes him in a precarious spot when we're talking playoffs with 3 races still to go and no win for the number 12 team.
When Kevin Harvick crosses the line right here, Junior, this will be his 26th lap led at Michigan. Why does that matter? Coming into today, he had led 13 all season. 1 at California, 1 at Darlington, and 11 at Atlanta. So at the beginning of the day, when they asked, can a Ford win, Kevin Harvick win, the numbers screamed no. I know the numbers at Michigan were good, but this is a new car, Jeff. And the numbers in this car, there was nothing that showed me this was going to happen today. Perhaps I didn't have enough belief in the guy behind the wheel, and that guy right there, Rodney Childers, on top of the pit box. 35 wins together since 2014, this pair. They got together. Remember that Charlotte Test Junior? It was like lightning in a bottle. First laps on the racetrack, Kevin Harvick was like a new man when he was paired with Rodney Childers in his move to SHR. It has been a slump. It's been 65 races. We just talked, you and I, about Harvick was pretty calm. Normally he gets pretty fiery when they're getting a slump, but he's been very calm and polite in the media about his team and what they need to do better. And maybe he saw this coming. Hats off to him. I didn't see it coming. They obviously had more belief than I did.
Well, not only the speed that they've had today and at the right times, but the strategy also. You know, look at the year they've had. This was an opportunity. In 2020, good battle. Kevin Harvick, that was his last win. He was on a roll in 2020. He kind of struggled toward the end in the playoffs and never recovered from it.
Man, this is like the shot heard across the garage area right here.
Well, it's the worst nightmare if this happens for Truex and Blaney. This was the thing they didn't want to have happen. Remember, we've got 3 very unique racetracks coming up in the next 3 races where the field's wide open. Who can win? A road course, a super speedway, a short track. Anything can happen at those 3. So keep talking about how many winners we can have. If this thing's in, we're 15, very close to 16, Marty.
And Jeff, let's put some perspective on this day for Bubba Wallace. This would be a career best 4th straight top 10 finish. And the interesting thing he said earlier this week, Jeff, is the win doesn't have to happen here at Michigan. I know with the speed we have and the discipline I've been driving with, we can go to Richmond next week and win, because Toyota's terrific at Richmond as well. Watkins Glen may not be his best racetrack, but Daytona, you know he can win. So coming in, Jeff, with that perspective, hey, the pressure's not on me to make it happen today. Another great run. They can take this, move forward. They have 3 more shots.
Well, that's a great perspective. At some point, though, you see Truex and Blaney. We talked about the point battle. Truex trying to get this point right here. At some point, you're Bubba Wallace. You want to be the guy that expects to win. That's where you ultimately want to get, is where when you come into every race, you think you can win, and that's the ultimate goal of all of us.
Yeah, when you mentioned the points battle, we're looking right here. This is one's in red and one's in green.
Oh, Blaney in the wall.
One's in and one's out.
12 car gets in the wall off of turn 2, giving that position away to Truex.
And Bubba's thinking, man, let's get a yellow. Debris, something.
We'll watch it right here, just pushing a little bit too hard, gets up the racetrack. Pretty good contact right there, but able to continue on. Truex now sizing up the 22 car of Logano in front of him for another position. That'll most likely be the next battle on the racetrack.
Not much pressure behind Blaney. He's got just over a second lead for the guys behind him.
Denny Hamlin has driven all the way to the 3rd position. That's unbelievable. And he just ran a 37.88. He just ran 0.4 of a second faster than Kevin Harvick.
Penalties. Penalties, penalties. This team has had so many of them this year.
I know Bubba Wallace would love to have an opportunity at getting a yellow, and Denny, with as good a car as he has, what kind of position would that put him in as the owner of the 23? And he's driving a winning race car, the fastest car on the racetrack. What would he do? What lane would he choose, depending on where Bubba goes?
He would. Oh, there we go. Left front tire.
Yeah, we've seen this with the 41. You see the debris coming off it, pouring off the left front of the 99 on the backstretch. Will NASCAR think this is enough? He's still up on the banking, heading into 3.
Starter's got the yellow flag in hand.
I see sparks. Will we see fire? Oh, the wheel's not turning now. This is definitely not a good situation for the leaders. Gets to pit road. NASCAR determines not enough debris. I'm sure they're looking at the racetrack.
Yeah, they have spotters around the racetrack looking to see if there is any debris on the track now. Kevin Harvick saying nothing. There's nothing.
Yes, sir. Track's clear. Yes, sir.
Track's clear. Promise you. Nothing out there.
That radio we just heard was the NASCAR spotter. Yes, turn 3 clear.
4 laps to go here for Kevin. Giving a little bit of time on that lead to Bubba Wallace as you watch the 99 car losing the tire down the back straightaway.
Something NASCAR has done over the last several years, Steve. They've tried to hold that caution unless they really felt like it was necessary late in these races, Marty.
4 to go, and Jeff, being very honest, I don't think any of us thought we would be sitting here with 4 to go and Kevin Harvick would be leading, looking at a 6th Michigan win, maybe. Steve, we've talked a lot about this. Kevin Harvick has come through multiple times, right? Huge clutch wins, playoffs at Dover when they were going to be out if they didn't win. I would argue today might be his most clutch win of his career. Nobody thought this 4 team could put it together. You said the pre-race, Steve, they couldn't put it together, and looks like they might do it.
Yeah, I didn't see anything that showed that these numbers were going to show up for the 4 car. Brad Doherty felt something. We asked him earlier who he was going to pick, and he said the 4 car. Now, I waited until he had a little track position, but I still don't think I would have taken him at that point.
Yeah, a little bit behind these guys. Blaney just got back by Truex.
Yeah, he did. He must have tuned that 12 up on the fence.
Now Blaney's going after Logano. I don't know what happened to Truex here. He lost a lot of speed.
And as great as this is for Kevin Harvick and Ford, the Toyota camp, now they showed what they have. They've been unbelievable all year long. I think they have the fastest cars here, but this is going to be a bit disheartening for Toyota to think they had it.
Harvick off of turn 4 down the front straightaway, taking the white flag. 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank for this 4 car in the Busch Light. Healthy lead over Bubba Wallace. Almost cruised home to victory here. 46 years old from Bakersfield, California. This will be his 59th career win. That puts him 10th all-time, guys, on the list. 65 starts since the last win for this 4 team. And he entered Michigan 96 points out of the playoffs in 17th position. As he comes off turn 4, the closer, Kevin Harvick, is going to make it happen in Michigan.
Great job! Awesome! Hell of a job, man.
You can hear real raw emotion from that driver right there. Getting his 6th win here at Michigan. 4 out of the last 5. I mean, I don't know why we doubted him earlier today. The guy's almost automatic at this racetrack. You see Bubba Wallace going by with a great top 2 finish here again on a great streak himself. I know he'll be disappointed. 68th career win for Stewart-Haas Racing, and Ford continues to dominate here at Michigan. Their 716th total win and their 43rd at this racetrack. The Toyotas came in with all the speed, but Ford does it again today. Kevin's going to go down here, I think, turn this car around and salute these fans all the way down the front straightaway. They stuck around for a little bit of a rain delay earlier today. NASCAR felt confident about being able to get this race started. And the fans did too, because every one of them are still here in this grandstands.
There's been a lot of talk about young drivers. Kevin Harvick, that's his 28th win since turning 40 years old. Dale Earnhardt had 26.
This is your Advanced Auto Parts checker flag moment. There's a few drivers every once in a while that seem to be able to continue to win beyond that 43, 44, 45-year-old mark. Not everybody can do it, but there's a couple. This guy's taking great care of himself physically. He's still focused 100% on what he does every single day. And that's what it takes to be great at this. You got to live it every day. And he's maintained that focus even when things have went left and right. It's been a challenge at times for this team. His effort in his job and everything that you got to put into it has not changed.
You know, that's the thing. We have to talk and analyze who we think can be good and who can. And there are times where you're right, you don't want to be right. And there are times we're wrong, and you've never been happier to be wrong. And this is one of them, right? We talked, could the Ford do it? I didn't think they could. I could be sitting here happier that I was wrong. He's a superstar. He's a champion. And you just love to see a guy bounce back off that streak. 65 wins. Junior, you and I have been here. We know what it's like to win after a dry spell. It's amazing. And you mentioned the raw emotion. He's soaking this one in, right? This one is special.
8th straight win here for Ford. This man obviously responsible for a lot of those. Used to winning, and you can tell this celebration just a little bit different. That's right. This one really means something.
When you haven't won for a while and you do get a win, trust me, that's a completely different feeling. Remind yourself, your team, you all can do it.
Let's go down to Marty.
What a day for Stewart-Haas Racing and Kevin Harvick on a day when nobody gave them a shot. I don't think Kevin Harvick and Rodney Childers doubted for just 1 second they could pull this off. Kevin Harvick with maybe the biggest statement win of the year, and that deserves celebration with the race team. And you think about the pressure on this team. Wrong side of the cut line for a number of weeks, knew they needed to win, knew this was one of his best racetracks. Wife Delana, daughter Piper gonna take this in. Look at that.
You remember a couple years ago, he had this celebration with his son.
He had that moment with Keelan, right,
yep.
Junior, a couple years ago. Now she gets her turn to go get the flag in front of these Michigan fans who waited it out through the rain delay and everything.
a great moment for a parent.
Piper's like, what do I do with this, Daddy? Man, I've seen you pull off some clutch wins in your career. You know, championship aside, is this maybe the most clutch win you've ever pulled off?
Just good timing for sure. You know, we've had several good runs the last few weeks, Loudon and Pocono, where the car ran good and just, you know, didn't have everything work out. So just really proud of everybody on our Busch Light Apple Ford Mustang. They've been digging along all year long, trying to make these Mustangs run faster. They haven't been great this year, but our guys have done a good job in trying to take what we have, maximize it, and do the things that we need to do. Just really proud of everybody at Stewart-Haas Racing.
Everyone doubted you guys. Did you guys ever doubt yourselves and think, we're not going to pull this off with 4 races to go?
Everybody who doubted us doesn't know us. They obviously know that we thrive in these types of situations, and you know, a lot of things went our way today, which you know, we haven't had all year long, have things go our way and have things fall our way. And then there at the end, we pitted, didn't go a lap down, and you know, the caution came out, got control of the race. That's the thing I struggled with the most today, was traffic and the restarts and just having to make up ground. But once I got clear track, that baby was hunting.
Kevin, with only 4 shots to do it, did you think the win had to come today at one of your best racetracks?
Well, you know, I think as you know, I get that question every week, unfortunately.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, but we don't do anything different. You go out and you try to put yourself in a position to win the race and try to capitalize on a day and put a whole day together. And today we put a whole day together.
How about these Michigan fans waiting it out through the rain delay? And you seem to enjoy this win a little bit more, Kevin. You soaked it in a little bit more. Why?
It's been a while. And, you know, coming to Michigan, this has been a great place for us. And just got to thank all the fans that have stuck with us through this little dry spell. So hopefully we can get back to victory lane again soon.
You had this moment with Keelan a few years ago. Now you get to share it with Piper. That's got to be fun, huh?
Yeah, she's definitely trying to get used to it. Are you going to go for a ride with me?
You going to go?
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Right. There we go.
There you go. How about that, Michigan race fans? Piper's going to go for a ride. Daddy's going to take her to victory lane. It's a short ride, but it's a fun ride for a little kid.
They're going to head off the Ruoff victory lane and celebrate as you see the team and crew chief Rodney Childers. Kevin says, if you doubted us, you don't know us. Man, you know, to hear him say they thrive in them situations, it's impressive. You don't know many teams that can succeed in those type of moments when there's frustration. We see other teams, and they get chipper. Not these guys. They stay buckled down.
Yeah, I mean, 687 days between wins. Right? And that's a long time. And you know, we talk a lot about athletes. And some find success and some don't. But Harvick, you called it at the line. He's the closer. Why is he the closer? Because he said that almost with a smirk. Those who questioned us, they don't know us. They love to be doubted. They love to be questioned. Rodney Childers, even then, great job. I mean, he's just, he is as bright as they come, as even-keeled as they come.
We're going to stand up for this ride?
Yeah. Where do I hold on, Dad?
Easy on the clutch. Easy on the clutch, Dad. You know, you see Piper riding that car. You know, Kevin's wife, Elena, from a racing family. Her father, John Paul Limble, ran in the Busch Grand National Series. Never quite had the funding. She grew up in a racing family, and she knows how important these days are. She knows how difficult it is, and she has so much appreciation to be able to be in victory lane, see how hard they work. And she knows the struggles. She saw it firsthand, lived it as a child.
As a parent, it's so fun to see these kids become part of these moments. You know, experienced that as being around the sport my whole life and really experienced that for a really long time, but didn't really understand it until I became a parent myself. And what a memory that they're creating.
Look at the smile on his face. Looking at her, the smile on Kevin's face. That's a bigger smile than I've seen, you know, with any checker flag or trophy.
She's waving.
What a day.
Take a ride right into the playoffs. and now this team becomes really dangerous.
That's what I mean.
Because they've not had winning speed, but he just said it. They've had consistent speed, and they've continued to improve. If they improve in the next 10 weeks as much as they have in the previous.
Correct.
And how good are they at Phoenix? Well, I know it's a little it's a little early to be talking about that, but they're great at Phoenix, and who won earlier at Phoenix this year? His teammate. So, you know, they got to have a little more confidence if they just get there.
Well, that's the point. I think the point for this team is, okay, now we've got that hurdle off. We've jumped that one. You don't have to win in the first round. 16 down to 12. You don't have to win. All those guys aren't going to win. The most that can win's 3, right?
Yeah.
You don't even really have to win in the second round. So to your point, Jeff, they have 10 solid weeks to figure out. Now, I think you need to think you have to win in the third round, right? But that's 10 weeks away.
Well, and don't expect him to make the mistakes. Like, you got to expect that guy with all that experience and his crew chief and that team, you know, they're gonna come into this playoffs having been there, done that.
This is going to be, I think, as big as the one on the front stretch. He's going to soak this in.
What a tall boy. Kevin Harvick back in victory lane for Stewart Haas. Incredible job closing this one out. So many changes throughout this race, but this guy got it done, and he's in the playoffs. Things keep getting interesting as we're going to head to Richmond next week. Kevin Harvick does it this week, but their battle rages on. 3 weeks left in the regular season.
A 65-race winless streak has been broken. Kevin Harvick and the 4 team are back in victory lane. And with that win, Kevin Harvick has locked himself into the 2022 playoffs. Now, Harvick has been in the NASCAR playoffs every year since this new playoff format was instituted there in 2014. And it continues here today. And interestingly enough, this was the same racetrack in the same race where Harvick was able to lock himself in on points last season. They call him the closer, and today he did just that. Entered this race at a 96-point deficit, a must-win situation, and win he did. We'll see how this shakes up the playoff points, but for now, let's send things back to Michigan, where the 4 team is celebrating the victory.
Back in Michigan as we look at the playoff standings. At the conclusion of today's event, there you see Kevin Harvick's name. And now the battle is between Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr., he's 4th in regular season points and not right now in the playoffs, guys.
No, but heading to Richmond, if I'm Blaney, I don't feel very good because Truex was fast at Richmond. There was a little bit of snarkiness on the radio on that team. I will try to clean that up if I'm Coach Gibbs this week. Keep believing in Truex, see if he can get it done.
Well, a guy who's a little bit more disappointed about his result today just came up a little bit short from that win. Parker caught up with Bubba Wallace.
Bubba Wallace finishes second, and Bubba, I saw you take a moment in the car here when you pulled up and just collecting your thoughts. What was going through your mind here as you pulled up and sat in the car?
Replaying everything I could have done. Took the top there on the restart. Thought I could, hang with the 4 and just got to race in the 5 and the 22. And 22 did a good job of getting another Ford contract, helping a Ford win. All in all, incredible weekend. Appreciate my team. Wish we could have got Toyota in victory lane. Wish we could have got McDonald's back in victory lane. She was fast all week, man. I'll wear this one on my heart for a while. I failed everybody.
I know you put a lot of pressure on yourself, and it's obvious you're obviously disappointed here, but you said you would have done something different on that restart. What exactly, move-wise, would you have done different?
Got clear of the 5 sooner. He was doing his part, putting it on my quarter there, keeping me tight, and just the side-by-side here allows the 4 to get away. Could have taken the top, pushed the 4, and then I could have been the 5 in that scenario, right? So just hate it for our team. It sucks.
saw Booty Barker come up and talk to your crew chief, Denny Hamlin, your co-owner. What'd they have to say to you?
Just great job all weekend. I mean, it is a hell of a job for our team. So there's a lot of positives in this, but I'm a person that looks at the negatives more than positives. I need to change that, but I want to win so bad, and this was the best opportunity.
You can tell Bubba really wanted this one.
Pretty incredible emotion from Bubba right there following this finish, and I think that Bubba really, you know, his people need to see this and get around him and say, look, man, look at the results over the last several weeks. You know, this is a journey. This isn't a sprint. Things are coming together. I mean, literally, they made some changes with his pit crew. He's had decent speed throughout the year, but if you just look at the numbers, everything's going in the right direction. Hang in here, all right? Stay positive. A win is right around the corner, and he's right. I mean, it's easy to focus on the negatives. It really is, and I understand that, but he needs to turn that around a little bit and start thinking about, hey, man, I'm right there. I'm really close. Maybe next week's the week.
Well, and listen, I appreciate him saying I could have done better, but you also have to understand the competition also has a plan. Like, you have to beat Kyle Larson on a restart. That's not easy to do. And I don't know that he did anything wrong. It's racing, and their job is to get in front of you. Your job is to get in front of them, and it's difficult. So I appreciate it, and I think 100%. He's got to go and look, go back and watch the replays, go back and look at data. What could have I done different? Is there something I could have done different? That's how you improve. I don't think you should put all that on his shoulders.
Simply said, we had this conversation before this race started. Did he have to win with the best car? And I didn't think he did. I just wanted to see him in that last 5%, that last restart. How many times have we seen Reddick lose, Larson lose, Chase Elliott lose? These are great drivers. They lose more than they started winning. You have to learn. And other than Daytona, Talladega, and some of the speedways where he has been in position, he has not been in position at a lot of these downforce tracks. The only way to learn is to be in position. Bubba needs to look at this as a positive. They keep giving him good cars. He'll completely forget about Michigan the next chance he has.
Absolutely agree with that. We're going to be sticking around here all the way till 8 o'clock. A lot more driver interviews coming. Marty and Brad, they're going to take it back under control after the break.